We are streaming. Is it live yet? Setting up your meeting for YouTube Live. Dun, dun, dun. All right, it looks like we are live. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast, AKA, I hear a, oh, I think that's me. I think I.
Oh, that was me. My bad.
Oh, is that you? Okay. I don't know. I always take the blame. You know, it's like in my family, it's like, hey, I'm the guy. I did it. I did something wrong. It's me. Happy wife, happy life, right? Welcome everyone. Sean Symons, PPG Grandpa, AKA Clear Prop TV, where everybody gets together Monday. If you're listening to us audio, you're probably listening to us on paratalk.org. If you're watching us, you probably went to clearproptv.com. Today we have a huge panel, and I want you guys to understand and learn about my friends that come here every Monday. So as I'm introducing everyone, they're going to tell us a little bit more about themselves, who they are, even their channel, where they come from, why are they here? So let's go ahead and start off at the very top here, since I'm up at the top. Let's go to Chris Wheeler. My dog is choking. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and why are you here?
I was a guest on episode 30, I think. I think it was 30. So a little bit about myself. I make YouTube videos in my spare time. It's My Dog is Choking, so just YouTube My Dog is Choking, all one word. On the side, I do software, computer stuff, generally is what I do. And that's it. Yeah, here I am.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot like that, but we definitely appreciate you. I don't remember what episode, but you also do a lot of wing review on your channel, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I have about 13 episodes of learning to fly. So I chronicle my history of learning to fly, the good, the bad, the ugly. And then I also have wing reviews, and then I also do inspirational videos too, which are just kind of like my anniversary video or my video of how I feel about the sport in general. So, yeah.
And just so you know, everyone that's watching and listening, all of our links will be down below. I don't know if they are right this second live, but they will be once we go here in just a moment. We also have Linda Anderson. She's always been our cheerleader, so welcome, Linda. She's our cheerleader, but give us a little bit more background about you. Why are you here, and even tell us about your son.
Oh my goodness. I kind of started my journey with you guys probably about a year ago. I'm the paramom of Robert Michaels. He does his talk show, paraglidingtalk.com, on Thursday nights, which is really exciting. And so I started really getting into following his show, and in turn, I don't know, it was kind of like a chain reaction. Then I just kind of found you guys here and there, and then Sean, you invited me to your show. I don't know what show number it was though. Seems like I've been on here forever with you guys, and it's a great ride. I'm like totally enjoying this.
And we definitely appreciate you here. Unfortunately, she doesn't fly, but she is really good at giving us like behind the scenes as being a newbie that doesn't fly. So, you know, the more we fly, the more it becomes natural and common to us, and we forget the newbie stuff. So she helps us stay more newbie. Now we got Tommy Mosley. He's been flying with me for a while over here locally here in Arkansas. We try to do cross countries and things like that. But Tommy, thank you for being on the show. Give us a little bit of background and let everybody know that when you first met me, I could not kite a darn wing, and you were thinking, oh my God, this guy, I don't know about him.
John and I met one day on the training hill, and I'd already had some mountain flights and was waiting to get my motor. And John was very, very new to the sport. And I think the next time I saw him, he had like 400 hours, 4,000 hours. I don't know, something crazy. And I think I'm on the show because every time I'm local, every time I need to fly, there's a group of guys that are flying, but I know Sean's flying every day that's available to fly. So I know he's going to be able to fly anytime I'm going to be able to fly. So yeah, that's it.
On that note, Tommy, if you want to go down to the sod farm, I'm going to be flying tomorrow evening with some friends. So come on over if you want.
Yeah, if I can get
I mean, I know that you can't, but you know, I offer, I offer. And then of course we have Brian Hey Bill Waller. He's been on our show for a while now. We met up because something interesting happened to him. Brian, give us a little bit of a background. Why are you on the? Why were you on the show? And well, of course we know why. You're because you're awesome.
Well, first off, one of the reasons I'm here is I decided to retire early about 3.5 years ago and go chase after my dreams. And I got into paramotoring. I've been traveling the country. And about a year ago, I got into paramotoring. At the beginning of this adventure, my buddy Andy bought me this phone and it's been paying the bill on ever since. And he's like, you know, we know you're going to do some cool things, put some videos up on YouTube. And that's how my YouTube channel got started. So Brian Waller, type that in on YouTube, you'll find me. And of course, I video everything I do now. Got another buddy that gave me a GoPro. And I was flying low across a field, having some fun, doing the classic hay bale slalom, and got too close to one on the left. I see you, Shane. I like your backdrop there, man. But anyway, I got too close to the one on the left, and the last decisions were not the right ones, and I ended up pushing off with my left and turning my foot sideways. So that's how I got started. Y'all interviewed me. I appreciate that. I think that was episode 21, and I guess you can't get rid of me. I just keep coming back.
I'm glad that you're back, and just like always, kick your foot up so we can see your foot. That seems to be a thing now.
And he's frozen.
So
I think we lost him.
I think so too. So that's Brian Haybale. We also have Doug Martin tonight, and thank you very much for being here. I know that you're busy, but Doug is here, and he's always welcome to come on here. Matter of fact, he was on a couple of our past podcasts. Dougie, a little bit about your background, and thank you again for being here on the panel.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys asking me to come on. All in all, I'm kind of a good guy, depending who you ask. Honestly, anything with the motor or wings, last 25 years has pretty much been life. I've been flying now the last about 3 years. Had a relatively nasty incident about 8 months ago. You guys interviewed me a few times, and you all seem like good folks, so I decided to stick around, and I'll stick my head in once in a while and add smart out comments.
And we totally appreciate you being here, Doug Martin. Thank you. We also have our resident paramotor instructor, Kevin Can Fly at kevincanfly.com. Kevin, welcome to the show as always. Give us a little bit of a background and why you're still sticking around.
Well, my background is I got the misfortune of having a family that started me out in life in aviation. And, you know, it's that simple thing of like where you just stand up, say, hi, my name is, and I'm an addict. So once it's in your blood, as you know, most people who've flown know, it's something you don't really shake. You know, you chase it to the clouds and you want to be Icarus every time you fly. I've been doing it since 2002 under a paraglider wing, I guess you'd say. Paramotoring now for about 5 years. And the thing that I've come to find is there's two things in this sport that we have, and it's almost like the two things we have in politics. There's the people that are always struggling for the top, and then there's the people that are always trying to look out for the ones below. I feel like my experience through life, my experience through flying, my SIVs, being a general aviation pilot as well as a paramotor pilot, I feel I have something to give back to the community as far as that knowledge that somebody's trying to achieve and I'm happy to share it. And I think this show is a great platform. I think we talk about very relevant topics. I think the guests we have, including Brian and Doug, Chris today, some great topics that come up, some great information. And the saying goes, more heads is better than one. I think as we work through this and discuss this, different issues and different topics, it brings us all to some enlightenment and helps everybody be a happier, safer pilot. And at the end of the day, we all want to be happy. We all want to enjoy flying. So the more knowledge we have, the more question marks we check off. And the more question marks we check off, the more prepared we are for the fun when it comes.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. That's Kevin at kevincanfly.com. Now we have JP. He has been here for a while, and he's always been our technical guy. He's also thrown a reserve in real life, not at SIV, and he has a lot of good stories to tell. So JP, who are you? A little bit of your background, and why are you still here? I guess you like us.
I am JP Tulo. I'm still here because you can't get rid of me. I am what you call a para-junkie. I can't get enough powered paragliding, you name it. You'll see me in the rooms on, every show, every night of the week if I, have time.
Trainer
show. I just can't get enough. I love this stuff, man. Ever since I found it about 1.5 years ago. It's every chance I get. So
tell us a little bit about that reserve you had to throw.
About 30 hours in, I learned about the importance of pre-flight, I guess you could say. I had a little bit of an failure and wasn't really doing anything that stupid. I would, just kind of messing around, and I was relatively smart about it. I started up at like 3,000 feet, which I guess is where you should be doing stupid stuff if you're gonna do it. And I snapped a line, and apparently on the glider I was on, which was a Gin Pegasus 2, which is supposed to be a relatively safe glider, I snapped a line on it and went into a spiral that at the time I didn't have enough skill to get out of. And I threw my reserve with about 1,000 feet to go, landed in a cornfield without a scratch on me, and I'm here to tell the tale. So you'll hear me preaching about the importance of reserves, even if, you're being smart about it and flying in calm air. You can never account for equipment failures or outside. I always mention the guy that got hit by a freaking eagle and tangled in his lines. You never know when something outside of your control is going to happen. So I'm always pushing the importance of a reserve or floats or, a backup plan, if you will, because what we're doing is inherently dangerous. It can be dangerous. It can also be very safe, and you can stack the deck in your favor if you're smart about it. So I don't know. I just think that's an important way to look at it. So
I totally agree. And I hope that everyone is using a reserve or think about getting a reserve pretty quick. We also have Never Trust a Skinny Chef Shane. He is our resident comic relief. If you've listened to our show in the past, you know that without him, there's no funniness. Shane, tell us a little bit about yourself and why are you still here on our show?
Well, you and I started, I guess, you asked me about starting another show, and I guess we went with it, and here we are. I've been flying paramotors November of last year, which I'm coming up on my first year. I've got, I don't know, almost 80 hours on my motor now.
Wow.
Which is what you probably did last week.
Yeah, pretty much.
Some of us have real jobs, we just can't go flying all the time. But
yeah, that's thank you for the backup. Thank you.
Hey, when you're
we're salty. Hey, we're salty about it too.
I mean,
right.
he's like, I'm like, come to Florida. I can. I got to work. Oh, by the way, I flew 8 hours today. Okay. How does that work?
It's
Anyways,
local.
I don't know why you guys have me on the show other than jokes, because I don't know much about paramotoring other than I haven't crashed yet. Notice I said yet. At some point it's going to happen. It's just like riding a motorcycle. It's those who have crashed and those who are going to crash on a motorcycle. Same thing with paramotor. And at some point you're going to have some kind of incidents. You know, I've been fortunate so far. I'm guessing that I went to a really good school and they taught me really well. And I guess my luck bucket hasn't filled up yet.
Exactly. Well, we appreciate your you being our comic relief. Without you, this would not be a good
comic relief. I love it. I know. I laugh at it, jokes. You know. Just,
well, that's because I pay you to.
Wait a minute, people are getting paid here?
Everybody gets paid to laugh at your jokes to make you feel better. Hey, we got Brandon on here.
Brandon in the house.
For a while, so I'm glad that you are here, so you can tell us a little bit about yourself. And I'm glad that you made it back, but why are you here? So Brandon, who are you and why are you here?
My name is Brandon Rucci. I'm a fellow paramotor pilot. I learned last year around probably July. Got right around 60 flights in, and my first time coming in on this show was because I destroyed my prop. I gave the what would you call it? The motor a little bit too early, gave the throttle a little bit too early, and clipped in what do you call it? The arm of my paramotor, and my prop struck it, as JP I believe is pulling up right now.
Yeah, and I also see that you haven't been watching all of his videos. Wait a minute, you've done pretty good, but you need to watch more of his videos apparently, JP.
He comments.
And Brandon, didn't you just post something? You posted a it was a TikTok or it was a Instagram, and you posted it on Facebook.
Yeah, so I just made that today.
Cool.
Thank you. No, I put a little bit of work on there. It was for TikTok and Instagram, but for some reason I'm not good with TikTok. I post a couple random videos and they get maybe 2 views. So it hurts to see that. So I'll put it on, like, because there was a couple paramotor clips on there today. So I figured I'd put it in the paramotor chat.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good. Definitely check it out, guys. I'm putting links down below as we get the chance. And now I got everybody, right? Everybody's changed. Everybody's moved around. I think I got everybody. Now we get to our guest, which was our co-host last week. We got Chris Mineburg. Tonight we're going to chat with him. But before we chat with him, we got to find out who he is. Chris, who are you? And tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, my name is Chris Mineburg. I'm a truck driver in Tucson, Arizona. I am an Army veteran. Yeah, I'm an Army vet. I spent 6 years in the Army from 2005 to 2010, early 05 to late 10. I was a truck driver in the Army as well, which, you know, at the time when I was in, I spent 15 months in Iraq in 07, 08. It was considered one of the more dangerous MOSs because of all the roadside bombs and IEDs and whatnot, which there was lots of that. And I developed PTSD from it pretty severely. So anyway, to start from the beginning, I've been into aviation pretty much my entire life. When I was probably 10 to 12 years old, somewhere in there, a good friend of mine introduced me to radio control, and I got pretty heavy into that, and I used to build kits. I'd spend, a couple months on a kit and crash it in a day. That went on and on for years. My dad was a private pilot. He had a V-tail Beach Bonanza. Lots of flight in that, and so my entire life I've always wanted to be a private pilot and get into the general aviation aspect of it. Hey, that's me.
All right, guys, real quick, there's 12 subscribers on his channel. Please go to his channel. I want to see more than 12, please.
It's pretty new. But anyway, so growing up, there was a lot of flying in my life between RC and then flying with my dad and some of my dad's friends. I flew around a bunch in some pretty cool airplanes like a ptsd, a Citabria one time, and cool stuff. And then so growing up, my life goal was always to be a pilot. By the time I was an adult, I didn't make the best choices in life. So I ended up joining the Army instead of going to college. That was last weekend.
I went into the Marine Corps instead of going to college. I understand you. I hear you. And thank you for your service, sir.
And you as well.
Yes, thank you.
No, thanks. So anyway, when I was probably around 20, I would have been about 28 or so. Right after I came back from Iraq, I had a little bit of deployment money and went and started taking flight lessons. And I got about 23, 24 hours in Cessnas towards my private.
So this is your general aviation. This is before paramotors, right?
Way before paramotors,
Okay.
yeah. So I got about 20 something hours and I kind of ran out of money at that point. And my instructor told me, he's like, your next flight is going to be a solo. So you need to have insurance and you need to have your medical. And I just didn't have the money for that at the time. So I put it to the side. And then for whatever reason, I came across paragliding on YouTube, which was kind of new back at that time. This was around 2009 or so, 2008, 2009. So I was like, that's cool. I can do that. So I jumped on eBay like everybody. And first thing I did, I went ahead and bought a wing. Knew nothing about it. So I bought a Gen Zoom, a 2006 Gen Zoom, which was just a couple years old at the time. And it was
because this was what year that you bought it?
2008 or 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I got it, it was pretty crispy. In fact, it's in my garage right now. It's still pretty crispy.
Wow.
But anyway, so I ended up meeting a guy I was stationed in El Paso, Texas at Fort Bliss. I met a guy out there named Tad Robinson, who was an instructor for both free flight and motors. But at the time, I'm like, I can't afford a motor. And I've got this wing. So I was like, let's do free flight. So I paid him some money and talked him into, he had a fan wing. So I had him pull me up a couple of times. I never disconnected. It was just straight line up 50 feet and glide down. And I'm like, cool, I know everything at this point. So then a buddy showed up in Texas and with a pickup truck. And I was like, hey, I've got a bunch of 550 cords. So let's go tie it to the back of your truck and pull me up and see what happens. I can do this. And that was a pretty big mistake. So anyway, I was like, these things fly at like 20 miles an hour. It's a diesel pickup. I'm like, don't give it a whole lot of gas. So the first thing he does is step on the gas, and I get up about 100 feet, and the tow line snapped. I pendulumed back, immediately did a full frontal collapse, and I was close enough to the ground to see it coming, but high enough for it to hurt. And I panicked and pulled my hands straight down to my sides to brace for impact, which put me into a parachutal stall. I came down from probably 80 to 100 feet parachutal. Thankfully, it was over a sand dune, and I had an airbag harness, and I really didn't get hurt. But it scared me out of it for quite some time. And in fact, until recently, it pretty much, I'm like, what, this isn't for me. So from, that time, that was about 2009 or so until this year, it's never left my mind. Paramotoring and paragliding has always been in the back of my mind. But I was just scared of it. I was really scared. So fast forward to now, the beginning of this year, I'm like, you know what, I need to do something. I'm 39, I'm about to turn 40. If I don't do something now, I'm gonna regret it for the rest of my life. So I was like, you know what, all right, let's go ahead. And at the beginning, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get my tax return. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my private pilot's license. That was my original plan. So I went and did a flight out at a local field here and started talking to an instructor and started talking to some other people. And like I said, I have severe PTSD. I did not realize at the time that PTSD is considered a mental illness and prohibits me from ever obtaining a pilot's license.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, I cannot get a medical whatsoever, period, end of story. So that really put me down. I kind of went into some depression with that, and I'm like, you know what, this really sucks. You know, it's like, this is what I've always wanted to do. I'm at a point where I can do it, but now I can't again.
Right.
So, like I said, the whole time, paragliders have always been in the back of my mind. I'm like, you know what, I don't need a medical for that. It's an ultralight. So I was like, all right, you know what? It's the next best thing. That was kind of my thing at the time. I was like, it's the next best thing, which was totally wrong. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to use that money that I got from my tax return and the stimulus check. And I'm going to go ahead and buy a motor.
I'm trying to explain something to somebody and I just don't.
Sorry.
Oh. So I decided to buy a motor and a wing. I got both for a pretty good price. My motor was a demo model from a company, a pretty big online company. I don't know if it's okay to put out a name, but
I personally don't care what you say.
yeah, so I got it from Glider Sports. It was last year's demo model. So it's a brand new engine with no warranty at a major discount. So I ended up getting my motor for, I want to say like 1,800 roughly, somewhere around there. And brand new engine, just no warranty. So it's a Vitarazi Moster 185, my 19. And I ended up getting a wing off of Facebook Marketplace, which was, it's a brand new wing. The guy apparently bought it up in Canada and hurt his shoulder in an unrelated incident and never flew it. And I got that for about $2,200. And I was pretty worried about that purchase, but it turned out it was what it was. It seems like it was what it was advertised as.
What wing did you get, Chris?
It's a Roadster, an Ozone Roadster 3, 28.
Oh, it's a nice wing.
Yeah,
Yes.
really good wing. So I still, like I said, I've still got that Gin Zoom sitting in the garage. And at first I was planning on using that to fly with. I'm glad I didn't. Some people talked me out of it. And that's probably a good choice. So we got that. Some of us got that stimulus check, and that's what bought my wing.
Well, one of the things that you also were talking about too is that you decided that you were going to build your own paramotor.
Yeah, so I was just getting to that. I did actually build my own paramotor. So I basically started, I'm pretty much tapped out with money as far as after the wing purchase and the engine purchase. So I've got some tools, and I'm pretty handy with YouTube. You can pretty much learn how to do anything. So I taught myself how to TIG weld, and I bought a TIG welder.
Wow.
Yeah, so I built a frame. I basically downloaded a bunch of pictures and watched a bunch of videos. Got a ton of information out of the I can't remember the guy's name from Scout, but he put a ton of videos up pretty much explaining.
From Miro?
I'm sorry?
Miro?
Yes, yeah.
Miroslav?
Yeah, exactly. So I got a ton of information from him. I bought the PPG Bible and got a ton of information out of that. And I basically just started reading everything I could possibly find about paramotor design. And I also, kind of leaned on I've got close to 30 years of RC experience, which, an aircraft is an aircraft. So I've built a ton of stuff with
CG and power, baby. CG and power.
Yeah.
So anyway,
you made a bunch of things that flew that was RC. So this is the first time that you made something that was airworthy that you could fly.
This is the first time, yes.
Okay.
It's the first time I've built anything that I fly. And it worked out. I'm still here talking to you. So.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
We have a huge panel here, and I definitely don't want to clog up and be the only person talking. Is there anybody in the panel that wants to ask him any questions?
I've got one for sure.
Yes.
I was, whenever you said you had that accident, a lot of people have never seen an accident, have never been around an accident like that. Even seeing something like that happen or having happened to you, how do you get over that? How do you get over that and move past that with what you wanted to do?
So for me, it took a decade, a little over a decade. But in the back of my mind, the entire last decade, flying has never left. It's always there every single day. That's all I think about. Basically, what got me to the point of getting over it was my age. I think it's kind of maybe partly a midlife thing. If I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. And then B, I did decide to get instruction and do it right this time. That was, thankfully, like I said before, I am a Resurgence alumni. Resurgence stepped in and helped me to get training through an excellent instructor. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better instructor. My instructor is Jeff Fletcher from Lone Star / Desert Aviators. He's got to be the coolest guy I've ever met. But
I love all the people at Lone Star Paramotor. I think they do a great job over there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't met any of the other guys over there. And the reason it was recommended that I see Jeff is he moved to Phoenix, which is, 100 miles away. But,
do we lose him or do we lose me?
I'm sorry.
No, he's still going strong. Keep on with your story, Chris. You're fine.
So anyway, yeah, I got some training through Jeff. I completed my frame. So back to my frame, originally I was, inexperienced. And so in my mind, I was like, you know what, the swing arm thing is kind of popular, but it seems like it's going to be a little unsteady and uneasy in flight. And I don't want that. I want this thing to be as solid as possible. So like everybody, I've watched some Dell videos or
He drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm like, you know what? The comfort bars are pretty solid. It looks like a good design, and that's probably what I'm going to do. And then also, with the SkyTap Angel, I saw that, and that's
what I fly
as well. Which is, I mean, it's an upgraded copy of the flat top. If
we're honest, the flat top is a downgraded copy of the Walker Jet.
And that too, for sure. So I started building.
And real quick, it's like when we talk about a paramotor frame, it's a hoop with nettings and some way of strapping in a harness.
It's pretty simple.
I mean, there's going to be some sort of copying someplace because unless you go like a square or something.
And I most definitely don't mean any disrespect towards SkyTap in that respect, especially because I did receive a ton of advice from
Andrew Fuller.
Andrew.
There you go. Yeah, Andy Fuller.
Andrew Fuller.
And I might be wrong about this, but I do believe the patent for the Walker Jet was bought by the snake oil salesman.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah. So anyway, I was posting my progress of my build on Facebook. I'm sure a few of you have seen it. It's the Blue Falcon, which is an Army reference. I got a lot of flack about that. Anyway, so Andy sent me a message. He sent me a private message and with his phone number and told me to give him a call. So I did. Out of the blue, I gave him a call and I spent about an hour on the phone with him. And he gave me some really good advice, as well as sending me some components to help complete my frame. But one of the biggest piece of advice he told me was, and now that I've got some experience, is absolutely right. He said, you know, he likes the comfort bar design, but he basically said you have to have a really strong frame to be able to handle it. He said, with the way your frame looks, you might get 2 or 3 flights before your comfort bars start to bend out, and that's my frame. Before your comfort bars start to bend out. And so he's like, you know what, your best bet with your design is to just go ahead and buy some swing arms from somebody and throw them on there. And that's exactly what I ended up doing. And it turned out well. I bought some Minari swing arms.
It looks really pretty.
Thank you. I bought some Minari swing arms off of eBay and threw them on there, and they're holding up pretty well. I'm about 260 pounds. So at first I wasn't sure they could hold my weight because they're kind of thin, but they seem to be doing just fine. As of now, I'm still a brand new pilot. I've made some changes since these pictures were posted.
Is that a gas can?
It was.
Is that a gas can?
Now I have an actual clear fuel tank.
Whatever works, man. Whatever works.
You know what?
In all fairness, I've seen
actually
fields in Thailand that use literally a Sprite 2-liter bottle as the fuel container.
At least he's not using a plastic grocery bag.
For years and years. Soda bottles.
Well, you know, it works if you put the grocery bag in a basket, a wicker basket.
So yeah,
if you made that gas can where it was detachable, it'd be really easy to pull up to or fly into a gas station.
Right? No,
that's the thing.
I have actually replaced that with an actual gas tank. That's clear. It's 2.5 gallons.
Ooh, Kevin would like that throttle.
Yeah, so that's been replaced as well. I was trying to be cheap with that too. Everything about it was, I want to make this thing as cheap as I possibly can and get it flying.
That looks like an actual bike handle.
Yeah, it does. Like a handlebar. You cut a handlebar in half.
It's actually a piece of aluminum tubing with a bicycle brake on it, more or less.
How did that work? It looks like it worked pretty well.
It worked fine.
That's what I build mine out of, Sean. I just use carbon tube instead of aluminum tube.
Yeah, the only problem I had with it was a little too long where the kill switch was.
Where is the kill switch?
Right at the end, at the normal spot. Yeah, and it was actually a computer, a PC power button that I bought off of. So the problem I kept having was every time I would move that thing or even look at it, I'd bump the kill switch.
That looks like you used rivets and strung your line like the SkyTap Angel.
Yeah, so that was that netting is all that came directly from Andy Fuller.
Okay.
And the rivets as well, for that fact. He sent me that. He gave me a ton of advice on where to place them and how to do them. It's 500 test pound Kevlar line, just like the SkyTap. And he sent me a ton of that line and the rivets, and it worked out well. I couldn't be happier with that netting material.
What is the name of your motor or your frame?
I'm calling it the Blue Falcon.
The Blue Falcon. We need to set up a GoFundMe and get this rolling off the line. That's pretty cool, man.
So is that all made out of 6061?
It is. It's actually 6063, which is a slightly cheaper but almost identical version of aluminum.
Okay.
In fact, most tubing is in fact 6063. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. But yeah, it's all aircraft grade aluminum.
What harness is this?
It's an APCO SLT harness, which is, I mean, that's so kind of my thing was, you know, I'm going to build everything I can, but anything that might kill me, I'm going to buy. So the harness, I wasn't going to attempt that. I'm really happy with that harness. It's got a safety strap that connects directly from the carabiner through the harness to the other carabiner. So if any of my frame fails, I'm not going to fall to my death.
Good. I like that.
So yeah, I mean, it's like I said from the beginning, it's so I actually did make a change from there. Everybody, I caught a lot of flack about the carabiner being directly through the shackle, metal on metal and whatnot. Until I realized that the harness is actually designed to be an intermediate. It's got a loop on both ends to connect from the shackle to the carabiner, which is how it is now. And I've got the retainers on the shackles as well, the key rings and whatnot.
Those guys right there.
Yeah, exactly.
What does that thing weigh?
It came up to 54 pounds, empty without my reserve on it.
Not bad.
Yeah.
That's like almost air conception weight.
Yeah, that's really good.
It turned out well. I mean, it's kind of hobbled together, but so I've got about probably 15 flights on it now. In fact, I just flew yesterday morning with it, and I've made a lot of adjustments. I put lamels on it, which made a huge difference for torque. So the original, the first few flights it was kind of a bear because it has no torque compensation built in whatsoever. I put lamels on it. I started with 4. I noticed an immediate improvement, but it wasn't enough. So I upped it to, I've got 15 of them on there now, and they're the PPG smoke lamels.
I see that this is at Paramotor Homemade. It's a Facebook group or page on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It was, it took me, so I work, you know, I'm a truck driver. I work a lot, and it did take me at least 3 or 4 full months of all of my time after work to complete it. That's including, you know, I had to chop those comfort bars off and, you know, make modifications. I got it to the point where I was happy with it and it's ready to go. And then it's like, nope, it needs a change. Something's got to come off and be re-engineered. And
hey, Chris, real quick, we got a couple of panel members that want to ask some questions. Tommy?
Sure.
Yeah, mine was already answered. One was the harness, the other was the motor and the weight. That's incredible. You got it to that weight. That's really good.
I think Chris Wheeler has a question too.
Yeah, so I noticed that the netting goes over the hoop. So I'm wondering if you ever had lines catch on the hoop. And I have a second question after you answer that.
Yeah, I actually, that was another one that I caught a lot of flack on Facebook for. If you actually look closely, it doesn't do that on the bottom half. If you look at where the arms go across, straight out horizontally, everything below that does not do that. It does not wrap around like that. It goes straight out. So the only part where it wraps around is up there on the top half. You can see it very well there.
Gotcha.
The reason
that's the placements that Andrew Fuller told you how to place them, because that's how the sky tap is, right?
Well, yeah. And so basically on the bottom half is where you have the most pressure from the lines expanding outwards as the wing is coming up. After it passes that midpoint, the pressure is reducing, and no, I haven't had a single snag whatsoever. It's perfectly smooth. I haven't even noticed it. At first I was like, maybe I'll take some of that irrigation tubing and wrap that around it if it is a problem, but it hasn't been a problem whatsoever. The rivets are all completely on the backside, so it can't snag on a rivet. And the pressure is so light at the point where it gets to the top half. I haven't had a problem at all. And then what was your other question, Chris?
So my other question is, I grew up in Tucson, so I know the area quite well, and you're able to fly over absolutely beautiful country. I mean, you got, and I don't know if you can go there, but can you fly over the Boneyard? Is that possible?
No.
And like, where do you fly? Oh, you can't because it's Davis-Monthan?
No, well, Davis-Monthan and TIA, it's Class C, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So where do you go? Do you go out to Oro Valley, or do you go closer to Sabino Canyon, or where can you go around there? And can I come fly with you? Because I've got plenty of reason to come to Tucson. So let me know if I can come fly with you.
I'll start with the second one. Hell yeah, I would love to have you here. Awesome. Most definitely, without a doubt. So where I have been flying, I did my training up in Santan, which is kind of south of Mesa, between Coolidge and Mesa. So it was, wake up at 2 a.m., drive, because I did my training on the weekends. So it was drive, an hour and a half to an hour, 45 minutes to get there, train, fly for an hour or two, because it was middle of summer, hour or two, and then drive back. That sucked. So I live on the east side of Tucson, and I mentioned that I fly radio control. So I'm a member of the Tucson Radio Control Club on the corner of Houghton and Valencia. It's been there for years and years and years. It's a big club. I live 10 minutes away from that. Well, directly behind that, if you're familiar with Tucson, is the old drag strip from back in the 60s and 70s. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
That's where I've been flying from, the old drag strip. There's a little clearing that's a little bit smaller than a football field, but it's completely surrounded by cholla cactus, but it's 10 minutes away. So that's where my flight's from. I keep trying to, I keep telling myself I'm gonna go hit up the Rincons. I want to go fly over the Rincons, but every time I chicken out, I'll hit a little bit of turbulence over the Pantano Wash, and it's like, no, not gonna happen, not today. But
we have to do Sabino Canyon. We have to. I grew up at Tanque Verde and Tanque Verde Loop, if you know that area.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have to do it. We have to do it. I'm gonna set a date with you.
Yeah, I'm for sure. I'm absolutely down. Yeah, this is the little spot that I've been flying from. In fact, I think that was my Saturday flight this past weekend. It's a tiny little spot, and if you have an engine out, it's gonna hurt. But I mean, it's a good little spot. It works. There it is. That's it. That's what I'm flying from. And there's the old drag strip. But
if you are listening to this podcast, please go over to clearproptv.com. Take a look and see what's going on over here. We're looking at his footage from Chris's YouTube right now. Hey, by the way, Chris, how many subscribers did you have when we first started?
I want to say 12.
You're up to 20.
Oh man, thank you. Yeah, it's a brand new YouTube channel. I'm brand new to paramotoring, and every paramotor pilot has to have a YouTube channel. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like any fish story, if you didn't get a picture, it didn't happen.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the coolest thing in the world. I'll be honest. Like I said from the very beginning, I really wanted to fly, general aviation. That was what my heart was set on. Once I decided that that's not going to happen, and I'm going to fall back on PPG, it's really changed my life. I mean, I'm so glad that I did go back to PPG, because it's 100 times better than flying around a Cessna. That's boring. I mean, it's fun, but it's like, compared to this, how else can you run into the sky like Superman?
I think general aviation is, I want to get from point A to point B a little bit faster than a car.
Yeah.
And paramotors, it's an adventure.
Exactly. And I mean, you look around, all you see is your feet and your hands, and that's it.
I've got 2 cents to add to this, considering I've got my accomplishments in both sides. And I'll say that when it comes to flying a Cessna or a Cherokee, something like that, the ability to fly the aircraft is a whole different experience. You sometimes, but not always, feel as if you're connected to the aircraft. It more feels like you're manipulating a machine.
Yeah.
And then secondarily, the rules and regulations that you have to follow are very strict checklists, very strict procedures, very strict language. You know, depending on what airspace, whether it's a Charlie or a Delta, depending on the regulations of the aircraft, does it have a mode C transponder? I mean, there's so many more facets to general aviation, just as in general, where in paramotors, the only real facet you have to deal with is airspace, weather, and your own mental status. And that last one, I think, is one of the most important things, because when you get into a Cessna or something, and we talk about it, like when you do your instruction, you hear your instructor talk a lot about the airplane getting ahead of you, and how you have to do a lot of work to make sure that the airplane doesn't get ahead of you. With paramotoring, you feel, it's the definition of flying through your butt.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily let the glider get ahead of you, because it really is the definition of connected to you. And I just think that freedom of flight really is more of a connection with how we feel when we go into the air, more so than the craft that we're connected to.
I completely agree with that. I've kind of compared it myself to the difference between riding a Harley or a dirt bike. You know, it's so the thing that kind of, my first flight, the thing that still sticks in my mind today that really threw me off was how you can feel each individual part of the wing move as you fly through turbulence. From one side to the other. You don't feel that in an airplane.
It's just a bump.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing ever. And I've flown a lot of different, so I've got a really good friend that flies sailplanes out here in Tucson as well. And I've gone for a bunch of flights with him, and that's a pretty unique type of flying as well. It's awesome, but it does not compare.
JP's on drugs.
What's that?
JP's on drugs.
I broke the channel, guys.
JP broke
what's
the
going
internet.
on here?
You got fact checked by Facebook is what happened.
Here we go. This is what I meant to put on. Okay.
Yeah, just paramotoring really is the best thing ever. There's nothing like it.
Look how cool that is. Like, man,
yeah.
Look at that. It doesn't get any cooler than that right there.
It really doesn't.
Hey, JP, you got your hand. You got your hand raised. You got your hand raised on purpose?
I do. Because Bill H from the chat wanted a question. He wanted to ask if you ever thought about building a trike.
Yeah, I have. Trikes are cool. I just don't think it would compare at this point. At some point in my life, I've heard it said, time and time again, and it's probably true. We're all one crash away from being a trike flyer. That's real. That's reality. And we're all getting, well, I'm about to turn 40. We're all getting.
To be so young.
Oh my God, he makes himself sound like he's.
To be so young. I would love to be turning 40.
I think the grand old dirt bike saying works perfect for paramotoring.
Yeah.
When you're young, it's all fun, and with age comes a cage.
We're all going to get older, and we're all going to end up flying a trike or not flying. So, but for now, I don't think anything compares to foot launch. There's nothing like running into the sky like Superman.
Exactly.
And it doesn't even matter.
I just like the looks I get when I pull up to a red light and people look at the back of my car like, what are you trying to do? Improve your top 10 times or something?
And the thing is too, I'm not going to fly from that little site that I'm flying from with a trike. It's just not going to happen. And that's the cool thing that I really like. With foot launch, you can find little spots on the top of a mountain. It's like the ultimate bush flying in a way, if you want it to be. I'm not there yet, but that's my goal. That's what I'm trying to get towards, is to be able to fly up in the mountains and whatnot.
So as an instructor, I
He'll
always
be right
tell my
there.
students, I say, what I like to see them do is 1%.
Dinner is ready.
Every time they go fly, 1% better. Whether it's 1% better mentally or 1% better physically, if you're improving 1%, then that means after you do 100 flights, you will be 100% better than you were 100 flights ago.
Brandon has to
continue,
go.
I
Brandon
have to get out of here, guys.
So thank you,
Are you
Brandon,
coming back, Brandon? Or are you leaving now? Are you leaving the building?
I'll probably be gone because I got work tomorrow, so I gotta get a little bit of rest. But
yes,
well, thank you for jumping on.
no,
Thank
thank you guys
you.
for
Yeah,
having me.
buddy.
I'll be back on here again though.
All right.
Hey, if you guys get a chance, check out Ruchi Flies. This guy makes
Definitely
some
check
really
it
good
out.
videos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
does.
Good.
Does.
Well,
not
Been
just
enjoying
like
following you,
paramotor
buddy.
stuff, but
His
he's got
most
some
recent
really good
Instagram
videos
post
out
was a
there.
good
So
one.
Always trying to switch it up. So if you guys are looking for something new, definitely check it out. Thank you guys though.
And thank you, Brandon.
no problem, Brandon. Have
Have a
good
good
one.
one.
I feel like I adopted Brandon, because I originally found him. I prospected on Facebook and brought him to the show.
Linda's proud of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Have a good one.
you guys can thank
All right.
me.
See you later, man. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
Night.
If you're in the audience and you're looking to be on the show, you just reach out to our PR rep, Linda, and she'll be happy to get you into the schedule.
Right.
Absolutely. So sorry, Kevin, didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you need to continue?
Honestly, I lost track of my thought when it went to chaos. So.
Oh, okay.
You might remind me, or we might just move on.
Let's see. Let's go ahead and open up the panel real quick. You guys have any questions for Chris?
Can I real quick just put one more thing out before that?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I really want to give a huge shout out to Resurgence. Resurgence PPG really came through for me. I was planning on self-training at the beginning of this. Again, I was planning on doing it for the second time. I would not be flying. I would not be on my 24th flight today or yesterday if it wasn't for Resurgence. I would probably be in my shop rebuilding my frame for like the 8th time with a broken leg. So I really want to give a huge shout out to Todd Scandrett and Resurgence PPG because they did come through for me. And as a disabled vet, I can't say enough positive about them. They're the best group of people I've ever met. It's the best organization I've ever seen.
I'm hands down one of the biggest supporters of what Todd does. I think it is phenomenally amazing that the audience he targets is the people that go out and serve our country and do it in such a humble way. I don't think I've ever heard a single Resurgence candidate ever say that they regret going through this process in any way whatsoever. I find it to be astonishing. And for everyone listening at home, if you're not a pilot and you have a service member in your family that you'd like to see go through the process, you can go to Resurgence PPG or resurgence.com, and you'll find out that you can either submit a candidacy for somebody or you can make a donation in the name of somebody, and that goes to helping the next candidate for Resurgence PPG get into the air. What Resurgence does is they are a 401c3 nonprofit organization, and they collect donations, and then they scholarship our wounded warrior veterans into a US PPA certified school with a US PPA certified instructor, and they see them through to a flight. And it's absolutely amazing what they do. So if you can support them, we graciously encourage you to do that.
Thank you very much for that, Kevin. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I couldn't have said
on that subject, there's a really easy way to support Resurgence. Anybody that is an Amazon Prime member, if you can change it on your phone and on your desktop browser. Go to, whenever you log in, go to amazonsmile.com. You can change that as your bookmark page.
Smile.amazon.com.
Yeah, smile.amazon.com, and go in. It takes maybe 4 minutes to change your settings and make Resurgence PPG your charity of choice. And
I'm gonna do that.
most of the products that you can buy on Amazon qualify, and I think it's something like 3% of whatever purchases you make on Amazon, the proceeds go to Resurgence PPG. And every quarter I get an email that says that I've donated X amount to Resurgence because of just the stuff that I'm buying anyways on Amazon.
And it's no money. There's no extra money out of your
nothing out of pocket. Nothing. It costs us nothing except the 4 minutes that it takes to sign up. So
good info.
Yeah, it's I can't encourage it enough. I made a post on Facebook about that a little while back. It's just there's no reason not to do it because it doesn't cost you anything extra. It's stuff that you're getting anyways. Might as well make it go to Resurgence, and even Amazon wins because I think they can write it off because they're making a donation to charity and stuff. So it's just do it. Like, if anybody has any questions, send me or Sean, a message and we can help you out with it. It's super easy. Just you go into settings.
JP. I will.
Yeah. Linda, let me know.
I know.
I will walk you through it step by step. So Resurgence PPG's on there, and also Chris Santa Croce's program, Project Airtime, is on there as well. Yeah, another great program that
hey, if we're going to use corporate tax evasion in any way, we might as well use it for Resurgence philanthropy. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Kevin, I just want to say you look marvelous, Kevin.
Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that.
You.
Marvelous, darling. Marvelous.
Seriously, I'm just.
Kevin's been on his deathbed the past couple days.
Yeah.
Just in case y'all didn't know.
I'm getting.
We thought we were gonna lose him.
Got him back. They're like, no way.
We're gonna lose our Kevin.
He was halfway to heaven. We pulled him back.
Yep. Nope. Kevin can visit the hospital 3 times.
3 times.
How many times was it?
He just went there because he wanted the attention.
The other day I opened up Facebook. I was like, is this like dude posting like one day at the hospital over 3 days, or is he 3 separate days in the hospital?
Well, just like he said, he's trying to pick up chicks.
Good place to do it, I guess.
No, it's really it was really an unusual deal. So I'm 36, almost 37 years old. I don't drink alcohol. I don't take drugs. I'm not overweight. I don't do anything other than, take a poor butt landing from time to time that damages my body. And for me to have a random gastric pain that was on a scale level of about an 8 to a 10 for a guy who shattered a femur, that was something I felt needed to be viewed by a couple of physicians. So I went into the doctor, CT scans, x-rays, the full thing, blood, urine, firstborn child, all that good stuff. And they weren't able to make a determination as to what was going on, though they decided it was pancreatitis. And so for the last almost 2 weeks now, I've been on absolute bed rest, clear fluids, and in and out of the emergency room with repeat visits to make sure that things are not progressing and getting worse. And I'm happy to say that today's the first day that I've started on a uphill recovery where I'm no longer taking narcotic medications and I'm able to subside my pain naturally.
Awesome.
No more narcotics, darn.
Yep.
I don't like them. I don't like the way they make me feel. I don't like taking drugs. Anything that makes me feel like I don't have control of my own body.
Whoa. What? Wait, back up. Can you say that again? Because
I used the
I think I must have misunderstood you there.
You're not supposed to lie. Come on.
Hey.
Way to go, Pinocchio.
Cannabis
oh man.
is an herbal remedy. It is not a drug.
Cannabis is not a drug.
Hey,
no more than a cigarette anyway.
Hey Chris, I want to give you the heads up real quick. Brady Smith, he flies out of Flagstaff, so you might want to, message him sometime or whatever.
That's
find some little places to fly out there. Out here, I should say.
That's one of those spots I definitely want to hit up.
Yes, yeah.
I really need to get my bump tolerance up first.
Yeah, he was on our show a while back. So I just messaged him, see what he was doing, but he hasn't messaged me back. Maybe he's flying or finished flying or what. I think he just flew like 5 days ago. So yeah, he's a really cool guy. So
yeah, so like I'm at a point right now, I've got 23 or 24 flights. So I'm brand new. Every time I feel a little bump, it makes me want to land right now. So I have to work on that. Flagstaff being as mountainous and valleys and hills, and it's going to have a lot of bumps. So that will definitely happen in the future. But
So Chris,
Oh, no,
I
yeah.
want to point out to you that Flagstaff being a mountainous area, especially towards the winter months, will have a lot less thermic activity and more ridge activity than your flatland desert will. Your flatland desert's going to absorb that heat, and then it's going to start popping off what we call bubble lift. So in the wintertime, you don't get concentric thermals. What you get is pockets of heat that then break off and they go up. And that's where you'll feel the most inconsistent air. What will feel the most uncomfortable for you will actually be on the flat ground. So if you go up where there's a little bit of mountains, there will be turbulence because of mechanical turbulence from the terrain.
Right.
But it won't be the same treacherous turbulence as you'll find when you're flying around over the flat valley. Just something to be aware of. So going up and flying Flagstaff is no more dangerous for you than where you're flying now.
That makes sense. Well, it's also a higher elevation, so there's that.
We got one more question from Brian.
Downhill.
There you go.
Got a question from Brian.
Yeah, he answered it at the exact same time I typed it. How many flights are you?
Yeah.
23 or 24, I think I heard.
23 or 24 and about 15 on my own frame. Ish.
He just finished the first case of Coors.
So are they all short flights or I mean, how many hours does that translate to roughly?
Yes. So on my motor, on my tachometer, I've got like 6.5 hours. So they're all very short flights. I have.
So Chris, are those 24 flights outside of training, or is that 24 flights including your training?
Including my training. I actually finished my instructor told me at 12 flights, he's like, you can go ahead and start flying on your own. He felt that I had progressed enough that I was competent to do it. And I agree. But yeah, it was 12 flights with my instructor. And then since then it's been on my own. Actually, I can't really say that because I did do a fly-in last weekend. A little short, it was the Wilcox Playa fly-in that you guys just saw the video. He was there for that, so I don't know if that counts, but I did get 7 or 8 flights on that as well.
We just call that a supervised flight is all.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
If he wasn't on the radio talking you through the maneuvers, it's just a supervised flight.
Yeah, he was actually he was wingtip bumping me and all that stuff. So yeah.
Unfortunately, it's after 8 o'clock. And some people have to go. I think Tommy has to go. So farewell, Mr. Tommy. We appreciate you being on here.
See you guys. It was nice talking with you. Thanks for all the information. It was really cool talking with you guys.
Thanks.
Hey, Tommy, send me a PM. I can get you a stellar deal on a new rag if you're looking for one.
Ooh, I like that idea. Yeah, definitely. I'll hit you up for sure.
Like good deal for a top quality product.
That's what I'm looking for. A top quality used product. Like somebody cutted it and didn't like it.
Well, hit me up. We'll talk shop and figure something out. I got a range of things I could hook you up with.
Appreciate it, buddy.
We're going to go ahead and open up everything. I got the Zoom information in the chat. So if you want to join us and chat with Chris or any of us, definitely jump on. Chris Wheeler has a question.
I'm sorry, did you say you had another question?
Yeah, Chris Wheeler has a question.
Yeah. So what wing are you on and what size?
I'm on a Ozone Roadster 3, 28 meter. And in fact, I didn't even say, so I was pretty excited when Sean sent me a friend request on Facebook. Reason being is, as a truck driver, I have a lot of idle time during the day to listen to podcasts, which I do pretty much all day, every day while I'm working. And this podcast is one of the ones that I've been listening to since it started. And I usually listen to it on Tuesday morning. So I am drinking a Hop Knot IPA, or 7, but
sounds good. I love IPAs.
We have a private chat, and it was just asking what kind of beers Chris drinking.
Yeah.
For those of you that are
Chris,
listening to us.
Are you a long haul, short haul, or route driver?
No, I'm a local driver. I deliver cinder block for the company that manufactures it here in Tucson. So construction materials.
Right on. Cool.
Yeah, I did long haul for a lot of years after I got out of the Army. In fact, I owned a truck for a while over the road, and it was much better money. And it was fun for a little while, but I mean, it's like 3 weeks out, and then the truck payment's still due. So you come home for a day, and you're just constantly thinking about the truck payment and maintenance. And so 3 weeks out, a day or two off, 3 weeks out, I got old pretty quick.
Yeah, having a family is a hard routine.
Yeah, I'm sure you can see them all running around in the back. My daughter keeps trying to put her face in the screen, but
so I feel you. I got three of my own. I got three of my own, man. I know exactly how it goes.
Yeah. So I switched over to the local thing. So I spend half the day in the truck and half the day on the forklift. I have a piggyback forklift that I pull around with me, and it's kind of fun. It's monotonous, but it's not the worst thing I've ever done. But yeah, it's local. It's less money, but I have a life. I get to fly paramotors and have kids. So, yeah. Hi. Anyway, so back to the original question was, so my wing, I was inspired heavily by Sean with his YouTube videos for the Roadster 3. And that ultimately is what led to me choosing that as my first wing.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, that you spoke so highly of it that I decided that's what I wanted. A lot of people were like, you should get a Mojo or an A-wing, and I'm like, I'm gonna grow out of that pretty quick, and I don't have the money to dump, several $1,000s into another wing right away. And the Roadster is a low enough B that I felt like I could handle it. And thankfully, I was right.
It's a nice wing. I really like it. It seems to be that, and the Spider seems to be really like a good first.
I train my students on a Spider, which is just a lightweight version of the same wing.
And so does my instructor. I already had my wing when I started training, so I never flew any of his. It might as well just fly my own. But
exactly.
Yeah, I'm a big enough guy where the extra weight of it just doesn't really matter to me. I've never had a problem bringing the wing up. So I'm happy with the Roadster. In fact, I like the heavier material because it'll probably last a little bit longer. Maybe, but yeah, it's a great wing. I haven't had any issues with it. I don't do a lot of funny stuff with it. Like my first time playing with the trims actually was yesterday morning during that turbulence. Yesterday, for some reason, I took off and I felt a ton of turbulence, even though it was fairly calm wind and cool. I don't know what was different, but there was a bunch of turbulence, and my mind went back to the manual and it said pull the trims in and active pilot it. So I did.
That's a really good thing to talk about real quick, since we got a big panel here that has different experience. Chris Wheeler, Chris Mineburg, and myself, we talked about this before a lot of people jumped on. So let's go ahead and open up the panel real quick. When you are flying personally and it's getting bumpy, do you pull trims in or let trims out halfway? What do you guys do?
I let my trims out to the point where my wing has the best pressure. And for my wing, that is about 1/3 of the trims out.
Okay. Anybody else?
I generally launch, land, and fly in that configuration. The only time that I bring my trims all the way in is if I'm trying to thermal.
What was the question?
When you're flying in heavy turbulence, do you pull trims in, let trims out midway, or where do you put your trims?
I think it depends on the wing too. A reflex wing. Yeah.
So just so you know, the piece of advice, in the ozone wings, all of them in the A and B category, they're certified where you can use the brakes in all trim settings. So you can be trimmed all the way out and still use your brakes and not cause collapses. You just cannot use the speed bar and then use your brakes. So if you're flying with no speed bar at all, you can fly with your trims all the way out, still have full control, or bring your trims in, still have the same full control.
However, I would asterisk that, because I feel like that's going to get a lot of people into a habit, and then they hop on a new wing and fly that the same way, a non-ozone wing. So you got to be careful that you don't take that style of flying.
Well, the Gen Vantage that I got, the Gen Vantage 3, I all configurations, including speed bar, you can use your brakes.
Yes.
So,
like the
is it a reflex wing?
Yes. Yeah, the Gen Vantage, you can
most
A
and B wings are going to be like that, but then you start getting into
yeah, even with your even with speed bar out, you can use the brakes on the Gen Vantage 3. It's the only one that I think I know about. But that's because it's
habitually
a hybrid.
what I do. Yeah, habitually what I do is if it starts getting bumpy, I immediately let the trims out. I want to invoke as much reflex as possible, because it's going to be more stable. You stiffen that wing, you allow the reflex to take it, and your chance of collapse go way down to a point. And once you hit your bump factor, and you're just like, I got to touch those brakes, I bring in the trims just a little bit and grab the brakes and just hold pressure on the brakes. But I never go trims in if it goes turbulent, because you're just going to feel the turbulence worse. It's going to be worse for you, because you're getting rid of the good part of the wing. You're getting rid of that reflex, and that reflex stiffens that wing and allows it to punch through better. And that's what you want to do in turbulence. You want to punch through it. You don't want to have a non-reflex wing. You don't want to pull the trims all the way in.
And that's different.
That's my opinion.
But that's also different. Turbulence and mechanical rotors, two different things. If you try to go and go reflex with trims out in mechanical rotor, you could cause a collapse. Am I correct, or am I incorrect in that?
I think turbulence is turbulence. I mean, how are you going to know if it's, if you're coming up to a group of trees, right? You definitely want to hold brake pressure. But what are you talking about a mechanical rotor? I mean, mechanical rotor is rotor, whether it's from trees or from a paramotor. And okay.
Well,
we said, what's that, Kevin?
I was going to say, I was just going to try to clarify the sentiment here is there's a difference between turbulence and rotor.
Yes.
So rotor would be disturbed air caused by a structure or obstacle, whereas turbulence is just different air masses moving about themselves. So if you're flying through turbulence, I agree with what Chris is saying. Increase the forward pressure on the wing. By letting trims out, you move your center of pressure forward. By having an increased pressure on the leading edge, you're less likely to take a collapse on your wing. However, I also agree with you, Sean. In rotor, you want to have your trims in for the sake of having the wing come out of the collapse faster. Wings are designed to collapse. They're meant to do it. That's why their lines are soft. When you reset the glider by pumping out your collapse, having your trims all the way in will allow you to pump collapses out easier. So two different schools of thought. I think both of you guys are on the correct way. I just don't think you're seeing eye to eye.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So as a new pilot, I'm curious, how do I know when that point happens before it's too late, before I've reached that turbulence that's too much and it's too late and in a collapse? How do I know?
So let me read to you what your manual says, because your manual actually covers this. It says, in mild turbulence, it may be best not to attempt to fly the wing actively and let the profile absorb the turbulence itself. Indeed, small application to the brakes can reduce the inheritance of stability in the profile. But basically what it's saying is in mild turbulence, in mid to mild turbulence, is where you want to invoke reflex. However, in strong turbulence, ozone recommends to always return the trimmers to the neutral position and fly the glider actively. Right. So they're saying don't pull them in. They're saying go neutral.
Yeah.
For that, and this is for the Roadster 3.
Right. And I guess I've read that manual cover to cover many, many times. My question is, your mild might be different from my strong. You know what I mean? How do I know? So yesterday I mostly always fly at trims neutral, which is the red line, which is 2 lines up from full in.
Correct.
That's where I almost always fly.
Yeah,
I was feeling some.
Hold on, JP. Let him go.
I think neutral isn't the red line, just FYI, but go ahead.
It is according to ozone.
Yeah, on that wing, that red line is the neutral line, JP.
Okay, sometimes neutral is all the way in, but I just want to, okay, go ahead, sorry.
So yesterday I was flying at neutral, and it was maybe 6 mile an hour winds. Right as I crossed over the wash, which is maybe a mile, probably a mile from my LZ, I started feeling a whole lot of bumps, and they weren't like a little thermal and then it's smooth again. No, it was bump, 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 bump. I was probably 800 feet up, so I don't think it was mechanical at that point, considering it was 6 mile an hour winds. I don't know what was going on, but it was different than what I felt before. So I wouldn't say I panicked necessarily, but it made me uncomfortable, and I decided to turn back towards the LZ. About halfway back to the LZ, I decided, back to the manual. The manual calls for trims full in, I believe, not neutral, for turbulence. So I decided to go ahead and do that. I pulled full trims in, maybe a quarter mile from my LZ, and that was the first time I had gone trims full in, and I couldn't believe, like you said, how much more I could feel the air. It felt 10 times worse when I pulled them in. I don't know. I'm a new pilot. I'm a brand new pilot. So
yeah. So the manual says neutral. It doesn't say trims in. It just says neutral. You don't want to go trims in turbulence. And then you want to apply brake pressure. You don't you'll know the feeling of how much. You don't want to pull too much. You're just holding weight on there. That's it. You'll know. You can feel it.
So
washes, especially in the Arizona area, the washes, you know what an arroyo is. I mean, you live there, right? An arroyo always follows a wash, right? So in those areas are always cold air. So if you're hot and you go into a wash, all of a sudden you cool down, even if there's not an arroyo around, because that air follows that wash down. And as you're going over it, you're feeling the difference of temperature between the non-wash and the wash area. So it's not surprising that you're going to feel turbulence as you go over washes.
Even at 15 minutes after official sunrise?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so when you get a chance, look up these terms: catabatic and anabatic. They describe what he's talking about. So the hot always goes the cold. So either you have positive lapse rate or you have negative lapse rate. So when you're flying around in the canyons or when you're flying around those areas, you're going to have pockets of settling cold air. And as you go through those pockets of, basically in the morning it would be warming air, you're going to be going from temperature changes, and that's what's going to be giving you your density, and that's what you're feeling is turbulence.
Okay. Yeah.
So to answer your question though, is the easy way to answer it is just to simply say, trust your gear. The wing you're on is very safe. The wing, even in a collapse, will correct itself without any pilot input other than a stall, which unless you're doing dumb things, you shouldn't be stalling the wing. And when it comes to what is your bump tolerance, that is a built up thing. It's today, it might be, this is uncomfortable for me. In 3 months from now, you might look back on it and go, wow, such a chicken. I can't believe I wasn't willing to fly that day. So
definitely agree.
It's always good to err on the side of how you feel. So if you feel, and this is what we call the I'm safe checklist. I'm sure you went through that when you did your Part 91 flying. Am I safe? Am I feeling good? Am I on medications? Did I eat today? Did I sleep today? All those, all the factors that go into how is your personal mental state. So if you don't feel like you should be in the air right now, put yourself on the ground as safely as possible.
Exactly.
There's always another day. Takeoffs and flights are not always guaranteed, but landings are.
That makes
And
sense.
not every landing is going to be as glorified as the ones you want them to be. So it's a marathon sport. It's not a sprint sport. And so mentally, we just have to always tell ourselves, like I said earlier, 1%, whether it's 1% mental or 1% physical, every time we go fly, we want to gain 1% better pilotage. So that way we're always checking off question marks. Today was, how does it feel when it's bumpy? Well, you experience that question mark. And my advice is, until the wing starts shooting around and you're having a hard time keeping a handle on it, that's when you go land. But that's because I've been flying for a long time, and I'm not necessarily afraid to let the wing start shooting a little bit. For a new guy, smooth air, solid feeling. As soon as it doesn't feel right, land. It's supposed to be fun. If it's not fun and you're flying around feeling like, oh shit, I shouldn't be here, then you probably shouldn't. Not because, you're, not the right guy, but it's always mental. Where, just like when you went through combat, your mental status is the difference between you being the conqueror or you being the victim. Am I here to win, or am I here to be the loser?
Right.
Never be the loser, especially in aviation. You're never a passenger. You're always the pilot, and you always have to come and make the good decisions. And if the good decision is to land, don't let anyone tell you that what you did was wrong, because it's better to be on the ground wishing you were in the air than be in the air wishing that you weren't on the ground.
That should really be a t-shirt. JP has his hand up.
I know, huh?
JP?
Real quick. Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to someone in the chat, Justin Lewandowski. You guys might remember earlier in the week I shared his Instagram with you. He was trying to self-train and was having a little bit of trouble, to say the least. He's since decided that he thinks he's going to seek out professional training, and I've invited him to come out and hang out with us, if he feels up to it. But yeah, I just wanted to say what's up, Big Lou.
And it's the Zoom is open. If you want to jump in, go ahead and jump in. No problem. Shane, you've been kind of quiet, and want to make sure that you have the ability to speak up. I don't want to keep you in the dark over there.
No, I'm being very quiet tonight. I've got a ton going on, and I'm just listening and waiting for the right opportunity for, I don't know, to ask questions that I'm not. So let me go ahead and start with this trimmer thing. I always ask my teacher what the correct situation is for trimmers in or out. And, when it comes to a new pilot, he told me to trims in and light pressure on the brakes. If your trims out, the recovery on a collapsed wing is more aggressive. So again, like I said, I'm a new pilot within a year. I trims in 9 times out of 10 when I fly, and it's only if I'm trying to catch somebody that I trims out. But that's just my opinion. I my teacher says only fly blue and black wings. I'm flying only blue and black wings. You know what I mean? You've trusted the guy. You've trusted your teacher.
Think of trimmers like a seesaw. So on one side of the seesaw, you have resistance, and on the other side of the seesaw, you have recovery. Right. So as you swing the seesaw this way, you become collapse resistant, and as you swing the seesaw this way, you become more recoverable. That's the realistic argument of trims in or out. Are you gonna roll the dice today that your wing won't collapse, or are you gonna roll the dice today that you can make it pop right back open?
I've never thought of it that way. That's good. I like that.
And after you've done enough flights, you won't have to think about it. You'll just go, oh, I need to pull those in a little bit. You'll just do it.
I watched a video by, I want to say it was Mitch G, if I'm not mistaken, the Apache pilot.
Probably.
Yeah, it was directly about that, and he drew little paper diagrams about it, and it made it really easy to understand exactly what's happening to your wing in turbulence regarding reflex and trim situations. He is also big on letting the trims out, but he also made a point that we haven't discussed that there are full reflex wings and semi-reflex wings. And he basically said that anything in the middle between trims in and trims out on a full reflex wing is kind of the danger zone. And that makes sense to me, because the way he explained it is, if you're full trims out, you're hanging 100% on the A-lines and everything else is slack. So that allows the wing to kind of do its thing because it's got a pivot right here, right? Whereas if you're on partial trim, there's still a little bit of pressure and it's not all the way on here. And that's where you get your problem. So that being said, based on that, our Roadsters are semi-reflex wings. They're not full reflex, because no matter what configuration you put it in, you're never going to have your B, C, and D be slack.
Well, that's not how reflex works. So
Okay.
So when you look at a paraglider and you look at its foil, you've got your A's, your B's, your C's, and then your D's, right?
Right.
So what's happening, and this is where Mitch's video goes, and it's kind of one of those, you got to understand a little deeper than just the basic concepts. But what he's telling you essentially is, when you come on the trimmers out and you let the tail up, your A's and your B's don't change dimension. They stay the same length. It's just your C's and D's that come up. It's just the tail. It's not the nose. What happens is, when you stand on the speed bar, you're changing the angle of attack. So trimmers move the center of pressure forward.
Okay.
The speed bar changes your actual AOA. So
I
by
don't think
moving,
that's the case on the Roadster, though, or the
no, that's the
think
case
the speed-
across all.
was-
That's the case across all paragliders. That's paraglider
it
design.
specifically says in the manual that the speed bar and the trimmers do exactly the same thing.
No,
It
absolutely
does.
not. It might say that in the manual, but I'm telling you from a physics standpoint, I've been doing this since 2002. That is
I'm not
not how.
arguing with you. I'm just
Yeah, oh no, I'm not arguing. I'm just being informative. Very informative. The change of the distance between the wing and your body is your incidence, right?
right.
So the incidence doesn't change when you open or close the trimmers. Your incidence remains the same. When you stand on speed bar, you're changing the distance between the leading edge of the glider and yourself. You're changing the incidence, i.e. you're changing the angle of attack.
Okay.
So when you move the center of pressure forward, you're loading the weight-bearing portion of the wing. So if you look at any paraglider, the way that they span the lines, and Andre Banderas did a great video on this, where he actually took and started plucking lines off of his mullions and showing what the wing does when you lose individual lines. 80% of the wing is supported on the A lines alone, and then the weight cascades back. So all you're doing by going into reflex is you're essentially taking those lower portions of the wing that's lifting, and you're moving that lifting surface forward, basically making the tail of the glider inoperable. It just doesn't do any more lifting. So by moving your trims, you're essentially changing the span of the glider because of the amount of lifting surface. Even though you're not making it physically smaller, you're making it only use less of its efficient lifting surface.
So JP, what is this that you're on right now?
That's the
This is the ozone manual.
Yeah, go to
Okay.
page 33. Go to page 33.
I think that's where I just was.
Yeah, 33 will give you a picture of the risers, and so you can see where the speed bar connects.
yeah.
And
So
then
my
it's kind of
understanding,
better to have that visual.
at least with the Roadster, is the only difference between speed bar and trims is the speed bar does more, but it's the same thing that it's doing.
It's a 40-60 though, right? I mean, 40% in the
It
trimmer,
depends.
60
It
is
depends on the wing. It depends on the manufacturers. Some wings put a lot of their speed in their trims, and some wing manufacturers put a lot of their speed in their speed bar system. It just depends on the manufacturer. And then within manufacturers, like with the APCO, for example, if you get the APCO Easy versus the APCO Easy R, the wing itself is the same wing. The only thing you're changing is the risers. And just by changing the risers, you change the fact that you get 2 inches more trim and a full speed system.
Right.
So same wing, different risers turns it into a different wing, essentially.
It's a lot to learn. It's a lot to pull in as a new pilot.
So this is one of those hobbies that you can spend 50 years and learn that you don't know ever enough.
Yeah, I've noticed. Yeah. And there's a lot of conflicting opinions I've noticed as well in this hobby, or in this sport. And that's kind of worrisome a little bit.
Well, because we learn something.
Come from experiences. It's not bad to take the opinion from someone who's experienced SIVs or experienced flying multiple wings. It's really, really tough to take the experience from people who are on Facebook that you have no idea what their experience is. They just want to throw random things at you.
Right. But then there's also Dell, who argues the opposite of what everybody else says, but he is experienced.
I think he only flies one wing though. Doesn't he just fly one wing?
Yeah, that's true. And way overweight for the wing that he flies.
Interesting.
It doesn't matter. He has a crumple zone, and he was trained by God.
By God.
No, by Jesus. Get it right.
No, it was by God. It was
by God. Oh, that's right. I saw the video.
It was by God.
By God. Yes, that's right. It was God. Not
yes, it was.
By the man himself.
Oh, Lordy. That's going a whole new territory here.
Yeah, it is. Hey, Brian Haybell, is there anything that you wanted to talk about? I don't want to leave you guys in the background there.
Brian's been having fun this week, seeing on Facebook there.
So I have one more question for Chris, though. Now that you've gone through the effort and process of building your own paramotor frame, have you sat down and actually taken any thoughts of making a new version or another version of a frame for the future and then improving any of some of your designs that you've come to fruition with?
Absolutely, yes. In fact, I have started it's in my head so far, but yeah, it's going to happen. There will be a V2. In fact,
awesome.
Thank you.
So the reason I named the thing Blue Falcon to begin with was, I'm not sure if you're aware of or familiar with the term, but Blue Falcon it's an Army reference. Basically, a Blue Falcon in the Army is the guy who always tattletales and snitches on everybody. He's the guy that always gets everybody in trouble. We call him the Blue Falcon. It's the MP, the military policeman.
We always called him a training accident.
So, huh?
So we always called him a training accident.
Yeah. So anyway, the reason I named it Blue Falcon partially was because I fully intended it for it's going to tattle on all of its problems so that I can improve it for V2. That's where the name came from. So I started the build and completed the build absolutely with the intention of building a version 2. So yes, there will be a version 2, and I have a ton of improvements. Most of them are going to be with torque compensation in mind. I'm going to put some fins in it, some carbon fins. I've built a ton of model like DLG sailplanes out of carbon fiber. I have a whole setup to do vacuum bagging and whatnot. So I'm going to put some torque compensation into it, and I want to make the kind of midsection part of it, like around the engine and your back, a little bit stronger, because I've bent it and had to fix it several times from my butt landings. So I want it to be, a pound or two is not going to hurt anything. So,
sure.
Yeah, I want it to be a little bit stronger around that area. But I mean, for the most part, it works well. In fact, it works a lot better than I thought it would. It did take some adjustments to get it. Like the first couple flights were really sketchy. But I added a little bit of thrust offset to it and some lamels, and I had to cut some parts off and shorten them so they don't bend so easy, like the little landing skids, so they don't hit my feet when I run. But other than that, I mean, it flies well. But I mean, the most important thing I can say about it, like I said, is all the parts that can kill you were parts I bought. The rest of it was what I made. So the swing arms I bought, the harness I bought, obviously the engine. I mean, so, I mean,
They
everything
weren't made in
else.
China, were they?
What's that?
The parts you bought, they weren't made in China, were they?
No,
Thailand.
no, the swing arms were Minari, so they're Polish, if I'm not mistaken.
Minari is Italian.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So it's
He's from
basically,
Italy.
yeah, so you've got Italian swing arms, Italian engine, and wherever APCO's made. But
Israeli.
there you go. So, yeah, I just I built the stuff, like I said, that if it breaks, who cares? It's not going to kill me. So, and I have a TIG welder and I can fix it. So,
JP has
Do
a
you
question.
fly with a
real quick.
reserve?
yeah, that's another thing. Okay, so I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this. I do have a reserve, yes, and I do fly with it. That being said, it's 21 years old.
Oh,
I repacked it maybe 2 months ago. It feels like it looks like it's in good shape. It feels like it's in good shape. I grabbed it and pulled it as hard as I could to see if it'll tear, and it doesn't tear. But it is 1999.
At least you have something. It's just
Better than nothing.
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
It's
It
like
could,
a 50-50
you could
chance.
slow your descent down a little bit more and
Yeah.
possibly save your life. But this is what you got until you get a new one. So it's not like this is what I'm going to use forever.
Exactly.
Right.
I've already talked to the wife about it. I am going to get a reserve.
Did you say you repacked it yourself?
I did repack it myself. Yeah. I followed the manual for this particular reserve doesn't exist because the company is long gone and they didn't have the internet when it was made. So it's a pull down apex round. So I used the Gen Yeti manual to repack it. Like I said, it's a 50-50 chance it's going to work. More than anything, it's about 8 pounds and it's on my left side. So it gives me a little bit
Ballast.
of counterweight to counter my
It's got
torque.
some ballast.
Yeah, it gives me a little bit of counterweight for my torque. Yeah, we are going to get a reserve. That's definitely going to happen. It'll probably be tax time again next year. But
So just to toss it out there, a quick way to help you offset some of your torque, make yourself about 1.5 inch spacer and space your left swing arm out about 1.5 inches.
yeah,
And just that alone, moving your carabiners that much more apart, but only one of them is giant as far as torque compensation will work.
yeah.
Will that affect it if it like cruising or anything else or takeoff and cruise and idle?
The only thing it does is it gives you a very, very shallow left turn when you're completely on glide.
Yeah.
And so like when you're coming in for landing, you just hold about 2 inches of right hand, leave your left hand all the way up. When you get to about 50 feet, put both hands all the way up, let the glider dive fast, and then you just flare as normal. But it's just a very, very gentle left hand turn. Super gentle, like not enough to be like scary or weird. And when you're under power or at cruise, straight level flight.
I have considered that. I've actually got the torque close enough to manageable now that I'm not too worried about it anymore. I have 15 lamels on it. I have my reserve obviously as counterweight, and I've also got my right hang point 1 hole forward of my left, which causes me to, it's like a thrust offset, a tiny bit of
anti-yaw.
I'm sorry?
It's anti-yaw.
Yeah, it's an offset thrust.
It keeps the thrust twist straight. I've had to do that with a machine before too.
Yeah, that made the biggest difference of all, because it's basically pushing me to the right, which is turning my wing to the left, obviously as a pendulum. it works very well. That was the biggest improvement that I made. It was the first one. Took a little bit of getting used to because I kept falling sideways to the left at first on my landings, because you literally have to land. You're landing sideways to a small degree. But
hey, real quick, everyone, smile for Linda. So, thumbs up. She's gonna post it later on. So.
You're muted, Linda. We can't hear you. Linda, you're
Linda,
muted.
are you smiling, Linda? Linda, you gotta smile. Ready?
Okay, I'm unmuted. I
Ready?
usually have Sean do the screenshot because
No, put your phone down. We're gonna send you the picture, okay?
Oh, okay.
Ready?
Oh, I'm
One.
excited. All right, okay.
1, 2, 3. Perfect.
So how do you do that again? Control command what?
I can't.
Command Shift 3.
Command Shift.
I'll post it for everyone to see. Hey, real quick. What's up, Justin? You guys see Justin joined the
I love you guys.
Justin is the guy that I showed you his Instagram earlier in the week that I'm pretty sure he's going to kill himself. So thanks for joining us, Justin.
Yeah, I ain't going to kill myself. I'm just going to watch you guys do it and learn from the best, I guess.
I got to go get a bottle. I'll be right back.
You're good.
Okay.
He's going to hit a bottle. Man.
It's not a hay bale, but it's a bottle.
Hey, it's a start. No, I'm just teasing you, Justin. I just, you know, this is what we kind of do is we're oriented towards newbies. And I saw your Instagram the other night and I was like, man, that guy made me a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie. It made me nervous. Yeah.
Which one is Justin?
I was airborne before, and I just figured, well, if I can get it in the sky, I can always get back down. And I watched, the guys on the internet that said, if you can go up, down, landing, it's all good to go.
Do you mind if I show your Instagram here?
Yeah, go for it.
See, the problem
he's already doing it.
We went the wrong direction. We started in the sky and fell back down. We start at the bottom and go back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know this was you. Yeah, I saw that. It looked like you looked like your feet went slip, shoot.
Where is this at? Where's
it's an abandoned airfield in Kentucky.
Okay, because I see
what kind of shoes were you wearing? Because it was like you slipped on black ice.
I was wearing combat boots, and the chute is a Roadster 2.
Are you in the service?
I was. I'm retired. I got shot 4 times. I'm disabled vet.
No shit.
Only
have we got a program for you?
Oh, do you?
Somebody get this man a resurgence application.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was kind of a buttlander there.
Wait a minute. Go back. What is he holding? Is he holding A's and B's?
No, just the A's.
Just the A's.
Okay. That's
the Ozone Roadster 2. It looks like it has the split A's.
Okay, I think I saw his brake. Okay, it's the brake that he's holding and his A's. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I tried. I just couldn't get off the ground. It's like too much. 285 is hard to get up off the ground. And I think another thing I've done was I wasn't pulling any brake compression. You can see my hands all the way out in the front. I didn't pull down the brake.
What size wing are you on?
Yeah, what size wing is that?
30.
Oh, that should have enough lift for you. I mean, I was flying. I was 200 at my heaviest, 275 on a 28-meter Roadster 3, and it on my Skyfly High it showed that I was going. My lift was 12 feet a second with a Monster 185 Classic.
Yes, so that's what I got to get. I got the Monster 185, the Mine 19. It's the pull start. But
you got more than enough power. You just haven't got the technique all quite sorted out.
Yeah, we got to fine tune the technique a little bit.
I'll let you guys
having your hands out in front of you is part of where you're starting out bad. Is you need to have your posture correct. So you got to have your arms
out,
back,
chest out.
Yeah, well, your shoulders back and arms out and up next to your ears, like you're doing a upside down push up.
Okay.
And your trims, where were they?
They were set in the middle on the white line. I guess neutral.
Man, if you could get over here for a weekend, I'd get you in the air and you'd be flying and having a good time.
I believe.
Where are you at?
I'm in Oregon.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in Kentucky.
That's why I say that. You're a little far, but if you wanted to take a drive, man, I could get you all sorted out, no problem.
Shit, I'm all about road trips. I'm always driving up and down the country anyhow.
Well, there you go.
I'm in the medical marijuana business.
Oh, so
Oh my God.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. From Kentucky, drop down to Arkansas and then go up there to see.
Oh yeah, I'll stop by there too.
There you go.
Sean needs a care package.
Sean needs
It
a
looks like
care
you're wearing
package.
a Detroit Tigers hat.
Yes, I am.
Okay, because I'm originally from Michigan, so I recognize the hat right away.
Well,
And that's
one of my investors from Michigan, his name is Milton Wilcox. He pitched 1985 World Series.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's one of my big investors here in Kentucky.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay,
So,
cool. Yeah, I
That
had
green gold.
Yep.
Hey
And,
JP, go back one.
Back to the ranch. Okay.
It looks like you had one of your lines caught.
yeah, from the get-go. And I just gave it up, terminated, and aborted.
Yep.
1 second. I'm trying to get the audio for you guys.
And that's when I cut the line too. I cut the
sheathing off.
Yep. And I ain't gonna freaking go up in the air like that. I'm just gonna get it fixed by a rigger and.
Oh no.
You guys hear me?
Go to
No. Use duct tape.
No, listen, check it out. Go to 4windsppg.com. Send Shannon an email. She'll send you a brand new line for $20.
Oh, sweet. And that's easy to put on?
They're easy to put on. Super
okay,
easy.
Cool. Thank you. I thought I had to get to a rigger or something.
No. If you tear up lines, every glider has a glider line guide. And so you can order any line you need as long as you know the line it is.
Okay, I know.
So if it's your number 1 C line or if it's your number 1 D line and the prop dinged it, you can just replace that one line and they're $20 a line.
If you're having problems inflating and it may be out of specs, maybe it wouldn't be that worst. The worst thing to do to send it to Shannon to get it all checked out in the first place.
That's also not a bad idea.
Just saying.
How old is it?
Yeah.
No, it's a roadster too, so it's.
But 2 years old is what the guy said it was. He bought it new 2 years ago and took it. He took it out, tried to self-train, and got tired of it and put it up. He said it has probably less than 5 hours on it.
Okay, so you realistically just need to spend $20 and get a new line.
Yep, realistically.
And then measure the rest of your lines to make sure that they're within specs.
All right, thank you.
You can find me on Facebook at Kevin Can Fly, and you're welcome to PM me anytime with any questions you have.
I appreciate it, Kevin.
Kevin.
I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on Instagram as Kevin Can Fly as well, and you can find me there too.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. My name's Big Lou.
Don't be confused, because I'm very big.
Well, guys, it's coming up on 9 o'clock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop our live streams. We really appreciate everybody that has come on. This has been an awesome podcast. Like I said, if you want to listen to us, go to paratalk.org. You want to see our cute faces, go to clearproptv.com. Is there any questions in the chat that we need to answer before we leave?
How many feathers are in a pound?
1 pound worth. And what's heavier, a pound of feathers or a pound of lead?
Well, a pound of gold, obviously.
Justin, you're welcome to come back.
Ladies swallow
next
beans,
week.
swings the
Hang
flood.
out with us, right?
Or a pound of sand in your wingtip.
Well, that'll just make you not really have fun for a few minutes.
You better fly with your butthole open if you have that much sand in. And our panel, is there anything that our panel wants to say before we head on out?
Where are we going?
Just like I said, same for Chris or anybody else. If I'm always at your disposal for questions. So if you ever need, it's Kevin Can Fly on Facebook. Send me a PM. Any questions you have, whether it's motor maintenance, your wing, tying in 2D, whatever, it doesn't matter. If I don't know it, we'll learn it together. So I'm always out there and available for anybody who wants it or needs to ask a question.
Thanks, Kevin.
Absolutely. Kevin, you rock.
Hey, Chris, check the chat.
Check the chat. Oh, yeah, I got you. I'll hit you up after we're done.
Road trip.
Definitely.
Chris, I sent you a friend request, Chris, so I can get on watch your YouTube. I sent you a friend request.
Cool. I will accept it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah.
Mr. Skinny Shane, anything
Just
that you
watch
want
out.
to say
She'll
before we
send
head
your
on
kids
out?
presents at Christmas and stuff. She's like, "We'll just adopt you. It's fine. Just accept it."
Skinny Chef, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
I just bought a cargo trailer, so I'll be making that into my pair
I
camper.
saw that. Awesome.
And I plan to do a video on that. And yeah, I can't wait.
Where can we find this video, Mr. Shane?
Well, as soon as my wife's not letting me spend any more money. Apparently, buying a cargo trailer means you can't spend any money, because she just thought I was going to buy this and then put my paramotor in it in a tent and then head out. What she doesn't know is I'm building a whole new live-in camper apparently on a budget.
That's probably going to be good, because once she finds out what you've done, you'll probably go and live in it.
The doghouse, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going out to my motorhome. I mean, my camper, my real camper, if that happens.
You always wonder why the manager at work has a $5,000 leather couch in his office. It's because his home life ain't that great.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I plan to.
Linda, you got mail.
I'm gonna do a step-by-step video on that coming up here in the next probably. It won't be for like another month, because apparently I'm not allowed to do nothing right now.
So make sure that you make sure the title says "How to Build a Doghouse."
Yeah, exactly. Good Lord.
10 days of flying, then you buy a trailer. I can't imagine why she would be unsatisfied with your behavior.
I mean, I went to Ohio for a couple days, and then I went to North Carolina 3 weeks later for 9 days or 10 days, whatever it was. And I'm going next weekend to another fly-in, and
wow.
Is that flying called Carnival Cruise with just your wife? Because I bet you should be out there.
Hey, you know what? Every time I leave, I'm like, why don't you go out and do something? She's like, I'll just sit at home. I'm like, why? I wouldn't sit at home. If you were gone somewhere, I'd be like, oh, time to go hit the town and have fun. I'm
There's
just saying.
a hot pizza and a cold beer calling my name.
Exactly. Nah, she's a good girl, man. She just chills, dude. I don't know. Apparently,
She's put up with this long. She must not be too bad.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm her entire world. I'm just saying, it happens.
Well, I mean, you do have the kind of personality takes up a room, so we'll just.
It does. That or the size of my head, one or the other.
We kind of missed your comic relief today, though, too. So
I have been preoccupied on some other things that it's the sad thing. You don't want to bother with it. It's all good, but
we're glad that you're here nonetheless.
Yeah.
I'm trying. It's hard. You know, with our guest there talking about the PTSD thing, it struck a nerve. So I kind of got a little quiet. It's all right.
Are you a vet too?
No, I did the hardest thing you'll ever have to do as a parent and say goodbye to your kids. So.
Oh man, I'm sorry about that.
So yeah, you don't have to go to war to have PTSD. You just have to have something traumatic. So
yeah,
it struck a nerve with me, and it shut me down tonight. But you know, it's everybody deals with their own stuff their own way. So
man, I'm
All
sorry.
right, wait a minute. We gotta do a group hug.
Group hug.
Group hug. Group
What is it?
hug.
Just me and Linda? That's it? Come on, guys. Do a group hug. There we go.
Kev-
Come on.
Come on.
Kevin's hugging me from behind, and I don't know what I'm feeling.
Group hug. Come on. Okay, that's good.
Man, good Lord.
I love you guys.
So
Yes.
my grandpa used to always have a little homonym he used to tell me when I was a child. And he used to tell me, God only takes the children that he loves the most. And the only reason why men are bald is because he covered the imperfect heads with hair.
There you go.
Well, crap. I have hair.
My grandpa was also bald, so you know.
Right.
That's funny.
Chris, any final words before we kill the live streams?
Can anybody call my wife and let me spend money, please?
Okay, I will.
Just use your PayPal, okay? Just PayPal everything.
No kidding.
Oh my God, man. She has like watched me like a hawk the last couple of days. Oh, it's killing me.
Oh man,
She's
thanks.
taking your credit card and everything, huh?
No, but let me tell you what happened. We're going Saturday over to Orlando for a wedding, and we're staying the night. So I'm thinking of ordering some stuff Thursday, and then when we're not here, I'll just have my daughter put it in her room and hide it.
What if she listens to this podcast? She'll know your secret.
My wife is listening and she's learning all the tricks.
No, see, the real trick is you open it immediately, sit it with the rest of your shit, and then pretend like it's been there all
I love
along. And you
this.
have no idea where this charge is coming.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I'll have to call PayPal and sort it out. My account must have been hacked. I didn't buy anything new. It works.
Unfortunately, there's nothing in my cargo trailer. So if all of a sudden, some lights show up or an outlet, yeah. So
That's not the same cargo trailer. I traded mine to my friend. He already had that.
Just talk to Kevin. He'll set you up.
I haven't been
Kevin
excited
can write
to
a
do
book.
any. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. So the trade-off. So
See,
the trade-off.
thing is, it's not for you, it's for her. So that way when you go to the fly-ins, she has a comfortable place to be.
No, she is perfectly fine with tent camping. She loves tent camping. I actually bought a tent after I sold the tent that we had when we bought the camper, and then she complained about why did I sell the tent. So I bought a new tent, and she's ready to rock and roll in that when it cools down. But here's the trade-off. So I bought a cargo trailer, enclosed trailer, and she bought 40 cases of tile.
Oh, hello.
Somebody's going to be doing their best work on their knees.
Yes, I am.
Get those fancy knee pads from Home Depot.
So I'm gonna take my best possible skill and pay a guy to do it because I'm done with it.
I don't blame you. That is not fun. Oh gosh, I would do the same thing. I'm like, screw this, man.
In the 13 years we've lived in this house, I have I've tore the carpet out, laid tile, tore the tile up, put more tile down, tore that tile up, put hardwood floors down, and now I'm fixing to go with hardwood floor looking tile. Done.
That's just known as equity retention. That's all it is.
I'm over it, man. I'm willing to pay somebody to come in and do this. We're just gonna go move out into the camper on the side of the house while this is all getting done. And It's all good.
There you go. Oh, good.
Need
There
to
you
need
go.
to talk to the guy that you're going to hire and have him pad the bill so you can afford your lights.
I'm pretty sure that you really should take that Carnival cruise while all of this is going on.
I like the sound of that.
Well, I'm fixing that on the 20. I don't even know. At the end of this month, I'm going to Wisconsin to do a ceremony for a wedding. And my wife's like, hey, can we just have the guy do it while we're gone? I'm like, dude, I'm not letting some guy in my house while we're not here. What? Seriously?
No.
No.
The dogs will just give everything away.
Yeah.
Exactly. Have you not seen my ferocious Rottweiler? He won't do nothing.
The one that you scratch inappropriately on Facebook? I saw that one.
You mean don't scratch? You mean I don't scratch?
I saw where you were touching that dog. Don't you try to lie to me.
Oh, he's not that well endowed. It's a little further down. No, he I don't know what it is.
Angle.
Yeah, it was a hilarious angle. But I don't know what it is with that dog. If you stop petting him and you leave your hand on him, he flips out. I don't know what it is. He hates it. Even in the middle of the night, I'm sleeping, I'll roll over and touch his head or whatever and just leave it there. And he flips out in the middle of the night.
Yep. It's all over. Can't do
I'm
that.
pretty sure in like a week or two he's gonna file a class action lawsuit like they did.
And I will switch his feed over from top of the line to friggin' O'Roy's.
The 100-pound bag of Alpo.
Get Alpo.
That dog eats pretty damn good. Tonight he had his pedigree dog food mixed in with the juices from the steak tonight.
See? Steak and potato.
Oh yeah.
You're as bad as me, Shane, man. I cook up like fresh hamburger, man, mix it in their food. They're like so spoiled.
I just bought 15 pounds of ribs for my dogs.
When it comes to hunting season, my dogs all get one deer a year.
Wow.
Deer meat's good.
Oh yeah.
Forever. It's good.
How many deer are you allowed to hunt in Florida? Good Lord.
We're allowed 2 a day.
2 a day?
We're allowed 2 a day.
Wow. That's a lot of deer.
I need to go hunt in Florida and just bring my AR and just freaking let loose.
Brap.
I mean, I got a whole grand idea for that. We just fly tandem. The passenger on the front runs defense, and the pilot, does the navigating portion. And when you find an animal, the passenger goes from defense to offense real quick, and then it's all right. See, Part 103 says you're allowed to drop stuff from your paramotor as long as it's not a hazard to people or property on the ground. It doesn't specify the velocity at which you drop things.
That is true. That is true. Because all rounds, they drop.
Well, unfortunately, the game warden thinks that shooting anything from a moving vehicle is illegal, or a moving. What is the? I already looked into this because that was the first thing I thought about doing.
Yeah. In Oregon, at least, you cannot fly and hunt on the same day.
What?
Yep. If you fly, like say hypothetically, you fly into a hunting area, you can't fly around, scout where the animals are, then land, and then walk over there and shoot them. They consider that unsportsman.
Yeah, that's part 91, right?
If you fly today, you cannot hunt till tomorrow.
Like
That's
after
part
midnight?
91, right?
It's
I wonder if you
It's
can
that
fly
way
a
most
drone
states.
and hunt, because that's
So
kind of the
wait,
same idea, right?
The guys,
No,
you guys like paramount over a place where you want to hunt first, and you're not allowed to do that, right? That's what they're saying. Like guys are down there hunting, and you got people paragliding over that to see where.
No. What they're saying, Linda, is if you're going to do active hunting, and you fly any aircraft, whether it's a helicopter or an airplane, into that hunting area.
Okay.
You cannot hunt the same day you fly.
Is that a passenger and a pilot?
That's anybody in that aircraft, does not matter.
What he's saying is you can't cheat.
Yeah. So we went over last year to go hunting. My father-in-law is a big time hunter. I'm not. I would rather use a camera to take shots than a gun.
Oh, that's sweet.
Well, I mean, I can easily go get a steak at the grocery store. I don't need to sit in the woods for 4 days to do
I'm
it.
going to take pictures and leave footprints.
But I had this conversation before I did it because I wanted to make sure I didn't get anybody in trouble. But I had brought my DJI with me, and everyone who knows about DJI knows the thing has several kilometers of range. And so the idea was I would use the drone, go fly a couple of the draws and figure out if there was any paths or animals, etc. Land the drone and then tell the boys what I had found and sent them out on their day. We talked to the park ranger about that, and at least in Oregon, they view that activity the exact same way as if you flew a Cessna or any other type of aircraft over in the same day. So if I was to fly my drone in camp, around camp, at all, that whole day, nobody in our camp could do any hunting. So that made my whole entire weekend a non-flying weekend, and all I got to do was sit in camp around the campfire because I'm not a hunter. But I'm glad I found out first. I'm glad I found out first because not only would they have seized my drone, but they then would have hit me with a $10,000 fine, and that would have been cool.
So Kevin, you said that instead of sitting in the woods for 4 days, you would rather go to a store and get a steak.
Correct.
Now, do you feel that's more humane?
I guess it depends on where I'm buying my steak from. Because I say that in honest because the store that I get my steak from is it's a family collective market, and they have their own farm, and they literally harvest whatever proteins they need based on the demand that they have. So they're not a mass slaughterhouse. It's not like I go to Safeway and buy steaks like 50 at a time or whatever. It's what we call the Sherwood Food Collective, and it's basically one farmer that has a lot of land and then uses that to produce his own store and so forth. It's all USD or certified organic, no hormones, grass fed, yada yada yada. It was actually super difficult for me to get used to at first, because if you've ever gone, anyone who's ever listened to this might understand, if you've ever gone from regular old store bought steak and then transitioned over to pure 100% grass fed beef, the flavor profile is totally different. It's 100% different.
Yeah.
So I get a Cali.
Real quick, Chris. I'm really sorry. Chris is going to head on out. He's our guest. He has to leave. So, Chris, have a great evening. Thank you very much for coming on. Totally appreciate you. And jump on anytime that you want to.
Thank you, Chris.
And plus, you're muted, so you need to unmute if you want to say something to us.
Sean, I really appreciate you having me and letting me tell my story. Also, thanks for letting me know I was muted. But no, seriously, Kevin, thanks for the advice. Chris as well. And never trust a skinny chef, man. I'm glad you're on here. Thanks for telling me, telling us all what happened to you. I'm sorry that happened, but I completely understand. And you're absolutely right. It's not just a veteran issue, but anyway,
but thank you for your service. My son was also in the Army, and but he passed of cancer. But I mean, at 19 years old, it's not fair. It really isn't.
It's not fair for anybody, man.
No. But I do feel for you. I completely understand what you're going through, and I'm sorry that you do have to go through that.
As do I. I completely do as well for you as well. Anyway, but I'm glad I get to talk to people like you, and glad we get to share the sky together. Someday, hopefully, we can do it in person. But and that goes for everybody. You're all awesome. Thank you all. You're
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Chris.
You guys
keep up the good work, buddy. You're doing great.
And jump on every Monday. You're definitely part of the panel.
I'm gonna try. I'm definitely gonna try. I'll do
most.
I can definitely do most. But you guys have a good night. Thank you very much.
All right, good night, Chris. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Mr. Chris Wheeler, thank you. Thank you for pausing. Go ahead and continue, please.
So I live out in the country, and so we get a cow a year that we butcher ourselves and that kind of thing. So starting next year, we'll be raising our own cattle. But I've been doing this for years and years, and grass-fed's definitely better, but it's a misnomer to think that you want 100% grass-fed. There's a problem with 100% grass-fed. What you don't want is you don't want hormone injection. That's what you don't want. You don't want hormone injection or antibiotics that are uncalled for. It's kind of like your own body, right? But you definitely want to grain a steer prior to slaughtering him by 3 or 4 months. You definitely want to feed him grain. And the reason why you do is because the best part of the meat is the fat. It's what gives the meat the flavor is the fat, right? Even if you cut it out. Yeah. You want fat. And so a lean cow doesn't really taste that great because it's too lean. You need the fat in order to add the flavor. And so, you know, if you're gonna take it to market about, you know, March, April, in, you know, November, December is when you want to start cutting it out and just graining it and just get it fat, and then you take it in. So yeah,
So
grass fed is what you want, but it's
grain finished.
Yeah, you definitely want to finish it with grain, and you definitely, getting it from a local rancher is the way to go, because you can ask them, what hormones have you injected into this? What antibiotics have you had to give? And if they're like, oh, we just do the standard antibiotics, go to a different rancher. You don't want antibiotics that are not necessary. I mean, just like your own, you don't want to like be taking Z-Paks or, you know, penicillin if you don't need it, if you're not sick. And the same thing with the cow. And you just don't want to inject the hormones into it. And there's a lot of local ranchers that won't. By the way, we pay usually about $350 to $390 a pound. That means T-bones, ribeyes, ground beef, whatever, the roast, $350 to $390 a pound. You can't even get that in the grocery store for ground beef. Right? Now, now, this year we had to pay, I think, $480, and the reason is because COVID, and all of the ranchers now are having a hard time getting to market. So the beef prices are definitely rising. So if you guys want to save your family a ton of money, buy a deep freezer. The ones that stand up, you don't want the ones on the ground. You want the ones that stand up because you'll get frostbite going through your meat to figure out what you want. Get the ones that stand up. Go to a Sears outlet store, get a brand new one that has a dent in it, and a couple $100, you get a freezer. A family of four will eat a half a cow a year. A half a cow is a lot of food. So if you have a family of four, buy a half a cow. Just go to your rancher and just tell them you want a half a cow. They'll find another family to split it with.
I found a rancher that'll give me half a cow for $250.
That's amazing. You should
Processed?
do that.
No.
Processed?
No, it's just,
okay.
It's just a clean split half, and he'd have to take it and have it butchered, which is why it's so cheap.
Yeah. Plus, I would question like how old that cow is if you're paying $250.
No, like
you should
they kill it. Half of it. Here's $250. Here's $250. They're just
the
doing
front half or the back half. Like the left and the right side. How does that even work?
I
seriously.
I hope it's straight down this way.
I would seriously, Sean. I would question that. I would not buy that cow if it's too cheap to be true. You're probably buying a really old cow. You want a young cow, you know.
No,
you should be paying about $1,300 to $1,500 for a half a cow. Is what you should be paying, and that's way less than you pay at the grocery store for meat for 1 year for your family. So
so with the farm that we have here up the street, it's a cow by order basically, which is why I was saying he doesn't just have a slaughterhouse, so to speak. He does the protein by demand, and so what they do is it's basically like you were saying. It was like I'm shaking my fingers, like you hit the nail on the head. It's like $1,250, and then they divide that amongst the four families. And it's not like you just get a quarter of the cow. What they do is they butcher out the whole thing, and then you get a dozen T-bones and a dozen prime ribs and a dozen. It's like it's just like going to the butcher shop and coming home with $475 worth of steaks. The only difference is for $475, you come home with an entire shopping cart instead of just the top little kid's seat. And it's everything. It's roasts, it's freaking the ribs. And for me, I love it because my wife doesn't like certain cuts, whereas I love certain cuts. So for her, like, she really, really loves doing ribeyes. So I can get the order so that way there's more ribeyes and more T-bones and then less roast. And so throughout the other families, we will sit and discuss, the breakdown of who wants what. And one family does more pot roast, and we break up the cow so that way everybody gets the best of what they want, so to speak. And then, it's $1,200, but for what you get at the end of the day, you're essentially getting almost $3,000 worth of groceries for $1,200.
Kevin, what does she not like about the roast?
It's not her that doesn't like roast. It's me. I don't like the texture.
Okay. Really? What if I told you I have a chuck roast?
I just don't like the stringiness. Like even pulled pork. If pulled pork isn't like super duper soft and subtle, if it sticks in your teeth and it's kind of chewy, I'm done. I can't stand that stringy, chewy type.
So Kevin, I just bought a chuck roast today. I plan to do an 8-hour sous vide cook and then torch it with my blowtorch.
Okay.
To finish it off. I guarantee you would eat this. I'm going to do a video on it, and I know what you're talking about, that stringiness. I know exactly what you're talking about. Evil. And
it's not the flavor. I love the flavor.
No, I'm not. I know you're talking about texture.
Flavors. It's just texture.
The texture. I 100%. I can eat deer steaks all day long, but if you ground it up, I can't eat it.
Real quick,
my father just went and got an elk, and we made hamburgers the other night. Or not hamburgers. It was meatloaf. We made meatloaf out of the elk. And I swear to God, it was probably one of the best meatloafs I've ever had in my life. There was no gamey flavor to it. It was just pure deliciousness.
I grew up in growing up in Detroit, my family had a grocery store business, and my dad and his brother and his brother-in-law, whatever, shared the business and whatnot. So I grew up on all that fresh, absolutely fresh, every night it was steak, pot roast, whatever. And I actually talked, my dad's like 94 now, and I talked to him a few days ago, and I was asking him about the roast, like a pot roast, because it seems like whatever I buy for a slow cooker, it's like kind of dry, it's kind of chewy or whatever. And he said a shoulder roast or something.
Shoulder roast, yep.
Yeah, he told me that. I mean, my dad's 94. He was like so sharp on and he was saying, like, when you go out and buy like the steaks, they call them petite steaks. He goes, all that is New York strip steaks, just cut up, chopped in pieces or whatever for like you buy the family packs or whatever. So he was saying, if you want a New York strip, just buy the strips and then, out the counter or whatever, and then cut them up yourself. And he says it's a lot cheaper. Same with as buying frozen chicken as to fresh chicken. Anyway.
Hey, Linda has a FedEx. FedEx is here. She told us this was going to happen. Hey,
JP?
real quick from the from the chat, this guy Brian Waller shares one of his worst fears is developing an allergy to red meats. Ticks that carry Lyme disease can actually do that, and I've been bitten by 3 all Lone Star ticks. And also, Phone Whistler wants to know from the panel, would any of us consider ever going vegan? And I personally would like to know, is this a PPG podcast or a podcast? Because
we started off flying around to kill game, and then it's like, would you buy it?
The transition.
Yeah,
this is the after show. This is whatever.
All right.
Hey, and FYI, Craig Taylor's in the chat. I don't know if you guys have ever seen my logo in the center of my wing, but thanks to him and his little business that he has on the side,
Wicked Wings
logo. If you're looking for something, he uses the same sticker material as it's what the wing is. What is it called?
Wing patch.
No, it's what is the material called? Good Lord, hurry up, Craig. Type it in the chat. What's the
Craig, type it fast.
type it, hurry. What's the material called? Jesus.
Keep in mind, we're on a 30-second delay, so he's not going to see us talking in real time.
We'll just keep this going. Hurry.
We'll just keep saying hurry for 30 seconds.
It's Jesus. Good Lord.
Good Lord.
Ripstop.
Thank you, Jesus. So it's the same material that your wing is made out of. So you literally do not even your wing has no idea. Whatever.
It's like putting one big patch on your wing.
Yeah, exactly. I just put a big one with a cancer ribbon right in the center of my wing, so it'll never.
How do we get a hold of this guy?
Craig verified.
How do we
it
get a
is
hold
called
of this guy?
Ripstop.
Craig,
he's in the chat right now.
Yeah, Craig Taylor. Can you drop contact info one way or the other, email, what have you, so that we can get some orders from you?
He needs to jump on real quick so he can talk to him.
He needs the order
here right now. He needs to come down the show now.
And not too many people.
We're still streaming. This is going to be on podcast all over the world. So
yeah,
Craig,
and tell your
Sean, drop the password or the code and the password.
It's scroll up. It's there, and JP just went full screen, so I can't get to it real quick. So,
Craig Taylor is also Craig Taylor is a he's a he's a one-legged foot launcher. He's a amputee. Yes, amputee.
It's awesome.
Which, by the way,
I love Craig.
The dude can foot launch like nobody's business. If you didn't know that he was missing a leg, you would not know he was missing a leg when he launched.
Does he left foot launch or does he right foot launch?
He does everything right. You know what I mean?
Kevin.
There, the link is up above, but I just posted the and so did JP.
What are you drinking there, JP? Bahama Mama?
It's a daiquiri.
Nothing wrong with a daiquiri.
I'm looking for the little umbrella and his drink. Yeah.
His little white dog made it for him.
I love my little white dog.
All I hear is jealousy about a daiquiri, about a doggy. Come on, guys.
I love that little dog.
Hey, Linda.
Answer the vegan diet question though.
I tried the vegan thing before. I wanted to, and I was vegan for a long time, but I got to the point that I felt like I needed something. I couldn't put my finger on it. And I went back to meat and I felt better. So I don't know.
So this surprises even me. But ever since I went to the emergency room last Tuesday, I've had nothing but liquid. I haven't had a stitch of food in over a week. So I'm technically vegan and gluten free all at once right now.
Negative, Ghost Rider. I need to eat red meat.
Well, I thought so too until it just kind of stopped being a hunger and just went away. And now I just feel like I do any other day. I just haven't eaten.
I stopped eating sugar about 20 some days ago, and I have no cravings for nothing anymore.
And I lost 7 pounds.
Oh, good. Congratulations. I lost a little over 20 now.
I saw your picture, Sean. You're doing really good.
I wonder if it's the note. You're not eating sugar then, right?
Just water and tea.
There you go.
Actually, yesterday I had 2 Vita Coco mixed waters.
I mean, you get your vitamins and your protein and stuff, Kevin. You know what I mean? Because you can't live on.
Yeah, no, my when I talked to my doctor, he says because of the effects of pancreatitis, I can't have anything that forces my body to operate or work its quote digestive system.
Oh, okay.
And so due to the inflammation of the pancreas, because the pancreas produces the enzymes that stop and start your hunger emotion. And so every time I eat, it then has to produce these hormones, and there's ducts between your pancreas and your stomach where these hormones pass through. And apparently that's where I'm having an issue, is what they suspect. And so if I have anything that's a solid food, then it's just going to exacerbate the problem that I'm having. So I haven't been able to eat anything that's been solid food since, like I said, last Tuesday. So I got cleared today. Today I'm allowed to go back to a soft foods diet.
Okay.
So JP, go back down and show them that badass wing right there. Oh, look at that. That's Wicked Wing logos right there. So
I wish it would let me blow it up.
Paramotor Crazy on it?
No. Yeah, he did Paramotor Crazy stickers as well.
Hey, and that sticker's still on that wing despite it being dragged through the Ohio River.
And catching a fish. and catching a fish.
Yeah.
And catching a fish.
So yeah, he does some good work, Craig Taylor at Wicked Wings Logos. So here's his contact info right here. wickedwingslogo@gmail.com.
Is he not going to jump on?
He's also he's also part of the our Paramotor Nation.
Craig's probably sitting in his easy chair eating a bucket of ice cream, laughing at all of us right now.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Half asleep.
Oh, that's why he doesn't want to jump on, because he's part of our Paramotor Nation. He's
probably naked.
He's in the hot tub with David.
I've had the pleasure of meeting Craig,
even Robert's wing. Even Robert's wing is there.
Yeah.
Paraglidingtalk.com.
Yeah.
Craig, we got to get my my flag put on there too that you did for me.
Oh, Craig did your flag?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I need a logo. I want to put my face on it though. I don't have a very.
Yeah, you shouldn't put your face on it. No.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real here.
Maybe put your dog's face on there.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm gonna do. Will you be my mascot? Dude, she could so be my mascot. Look at that.
You know what? Like one of us already has a dog for a mascot here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your dog's throwing up. Mine's a little bit cuter.
A puking dog or a cute little puppy? I don't know. Which one do we want?
Yeah. All right, I got to go, guys. So thanks for having me again, Sean.
All right, Chris. Have a good one.
Chris, have a good night.
See you guys.
All right, later, Chris. Thank you.
I got to get running too.
Hey, there's Craig Taylor.
Yeah.
He's not eating ice cream, and he's not in the hot tub with David. All right.
I was definitely cracking up at you guys, though.
There he is. He's in bed. I knew he was in bed.
Yeah.
I had two out of the three right. He was in his easy chair laughing his ass off at us. He just wasn't he just didn't have the ice cream.
I already had it.
How you doing, Craig?
There you go.
How's the pool business treating you this fall?
It's good. I'm trying to get him closed so I can go south and beat up on Shane, help him with his new camper.
Good, he needs it.
Hey,
somebody
Craig,
who can dish him out enough spoons of his own garbage that he might calm down a minute.
Craig, your pool company there, it's probably got a leg up on everybody there, huh?
Yeah, but I only can swim in circles, you know.
Everyone else is so uncomfortable right now, Craig. It's not even funny.
I just got a new leg.
People always thought it was funny when he bought an infinity pool.
I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I just got a new leg.
Oh yeah?
You just got a new leg.
You traded two paramotors and a wing for it.
So Phone Whistler wants to know how dangerous it would be to fly through a city like Baltimore. Anyone want to explain to him why we can't do that?
Dude, I love that,
Three.
Craig. You got a sectional for a leg? That's rad.
That is
Hold
awesome.
on, hold on. I didn't see it. Everybody,
It's a sectional. Where is that? I can't tell.
What? That is wow. That's wild. And it's carbon fiber too, right?
He has a sectional leg. It's sectional.
Miami International.
And there it is. Okay.
That is
He
awesome.
can literally stick his foot up your ass too. Take his leg off and beat you with it.
You know, it's really hard to argue with a guy when he says you're in the wrong airspace and he fucking puts his foot up your ass and says, "No, I'm not."
I will tell you right now, though, Craig, I watched this dude take off foot launch, and honestly, you would not know that he was missing anything other than more time in the air. No, dude, the dude can foot launch. I'm all props to you, Craig. I love you, dude. It's
props.
You're an awesome man, and you're a hell of a pilot, dude. I've flown with you, and
did you guys get to see that double amputee that came through this year for Resurgence?
That was Robert Bruce.
Dude, that guy did awesome. I was so proud for him.
He was really, really good.
What talk about heart, dude? That dude didn't give up for nothing.
People like that make me feel bad.
I know that guy.
I don't feel bad for you, Craig. I think there's nothing wrong with you, dude. You.
No, there's nothing wrong with me, but I feel like it's easy for me, but somebody like that, they're definitely working for it.
That's like the Black Knight from Monty Python. So you just look down, you're like, it's a flesh wound. I can go on.
Exactly.
Yeah, what's funny about Paramotor Crazy's logo is he went in the Ohio River and that thing didn't even budge. And,
we were just talking about that.
Yeah, we were.
And he caught a fish.
It wrong.
He applied it wrong?
He applied it wrong and it didn't even come off.
Wow. What did he do wrong?
Yeah, what did he do wrong?
Clarify that real quick so we understand what that means. He applied it wrong.
So he peeled the transfer sheet off first instead of the backing sheet, and then he had to put it on piece by piece.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
It's
not correctly like I did it.
So what you're saying is he edited out his mistakes on YouTube? Never.
And that it looks so small, doesn't it? That thing was huge.
Yeah, no. Yeah. My cancer ribbon is the same way. It looks so small, but then when you look at the picture from the website, and it's like, dude, that thing is like 6 foot wide.
Yeah, that one is the biggest one.
Wow.
Shane's was the biggest one so far. It's like a 6.
Yeah, I'm sure he's heard that before.
No, first time ever.
All right, guys. Well, on that bombshell.
No, Shane's was over almost 6 feet and bigger than 7.5.
Yep. But if you look at when I'm flying it, I look up and I'm like, man, I can see it perfectly clear. It just because of the wing, the size of the wing, it just looks so damn small, but it's not. It's huge.
Yeah, it's big.
And man, it was not easy. It took 4 of us to put it on. It was not. 4 Winds helped me out greatly.
Yeah, did they move?
Yeah, they went to Georgia. Apparently Avon. From rumor has it. How about that? Don't quote me on this.
A little bird told me.
What I was told was Lauren was acting like the airport manager, and then they hired somebody that came in and said, "Hey, you need to mow all of the field," And Lauren's like, no, I'm just mowing this part for the class. The county mows the rest of it. And long story short, Avon said, or Four Winds said, screw it. And I guess they moved to Georgia.
So the real story is the town chased them out like they tried to do to Aviator.
Like I said, I don't know.
What? Really? I didn't know.
I'm guessing. I'm just saying.
I know that.
I gotta go. I'd love to sit and hear more about the paradrama, but I really do gotta get back to the family now.
See you, Kevin.
Right on, dude. Take it easy.
Sounds good. And we've really went way over and beyond what our podcast should be going. I'd love to stay on and do more, but our listeners don't listen really past 2 hours. So we're going to go ahead and kill the live stream. Everybody that's listening to parenttalk.org, thank you very much. If you're watching us here at clearproptv.com, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we will catch you next Monday. Same bat time, same para channel. I should have said para. Darn it, I said bat. And we'll catch you next week. Have a good one, y'all. Peace out. Peace. Hey.
And done.
This was a good show. I think we had a good show tonight, didn't we?
We
a lot going on.
Best show ever.
Awesome.
Best show.
Oh, we're episode 37 already.
When Craig shows up, I mean, come on, man.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't ever catch the Monday show because I'm in ground school for fixed wing